record crowd building in Elizabeth Oval for the match of the day. The undefeated leaders, Port Adelaide and Central District. Lum in ruck for the Magpies. It was Russell Johnson who couldn't take his place in the side with an ankle injury, but forward they go. Coming out to beat that one is McGrath, who'll pick the ball up. In fact, it was Lally. He got off the handball to McGrath. He's under plenty of pressure. McGrath gets the handball over the top. Running into the open goal. He's tackled strongly. And Kim, I couldn't quite pick up who that was.
That was Greg Thomas, David, and it's the Magpies coming out of defence. Thomas a little unlucky, could have been a couple of free kicks there. Rowan Smith with the handball to Boyd. Well smothered Phillip Graham. Pretty fiery opening, she's quick stuff out there. Now it's Anderson with an awkward looking left foot kick. There's been a free kick that's been paid. It'll have to go the way of Phillip Graham.
Well, they've opened this game with plenty of pace, Kim.
Certainly haven't. It's a great crowd, perfect conditions. Should be a great game of football. The lead from Bubner. Taken off hands, ball by McGrath. The shot was astray. So we've had a minute into this game and no score at this stage.
That was not a good kick by McGrath. Curtis is in the back lines. He's playing centre today, Curtis. So certainly covering a lot of ground to take that free kick. Out of defence he goes, but no one home for the Magpies as Bubner has taken the mark on the half-back flank. Now Bubner wastes no time. He goes towards centre-half forward, looking for Anderson. The little fellow was swamped by Leslie, but coming out with the ball is Rudi Mandemaker, who shoots at goal, but he's also out of bounds on the full. Not a good kick, Kim.
Certainly wasn't. Granted, he did have to get around. He's a big chap. That brings back memories of 3 weeks ago when they played North Adelaide in the opening round, and Rudi didn't have his kicking boots on then. The ball brought back into play by Curtis to the outer side. Players dive on top of that. Desperate work. Both sides missing a couple of players today. Unfortunately for the Bulldogs, Russell Shields is out of the side with a hamstring, and their captain Rene Van Dommel is also out of the side.
Yes, Kim, Shields played so well in the opening game of the season where he kicked 6 goals from a wing, in fact. He'll certainly miss his drive today. Hutton it was with the ball onto the left boot, but the ball is out of play on the full.
Central District Vice Captain Mark Pryor to bring the ball back into play. Kick is long or high fly there, not paid. Leslie with the ball, quick handball looking for Curtis. Desperate work as players jump on top. In fact, Mark Pryor is acting captain today. Once again, it's Lum. Managed to get handed the ball, taken by Bything. Quick kick around his body out in the direction of Bubner. Two-pronged attack for the Bulldogs with Bubner and Mandemaker up there. The ball comes out the direction of Boyd, taken by Greg Anderson. Anderson's long handball over the top to Curtis. Curtis has to get it over the head of Graham, does so to Smith. Now inboard to Harvey. Magpies running. Harvey's long kick looking for Smith. Look at the pace of Smith. He couldn't get his hands to that. Now the ball's taken by Scott Lee. He opts for the grandstand side. And he buys the new sentiment for the Bulldogs in Jamie Thomas. I say new sentiment because he normally plays in the back line, but he's had a new lease of life in the middle of the ground. Anderson forward to Mandemaker. He's got 2 players to beat. Can't do so. Dead heat. And Daryl Schramm comes into bounce in the left forward pocket.
Kim, the Bulldogs look forward up front. They have Mandemaker at full forward and Bubner in a pocket, so plenty of height and marking ability up forward.
And quite a quantity of pace as well. Of course, the pace of Bubner. Quick handball by Dinova, good handball. He was a good player last week. Now the ball comes out from Hutton over the head of Abernethy. Oh, and Abernethy meets Scott Lee quite fiercely. Good body work by both players. No quarter given, none taken.
No, there'll be no beg your pardons today. Boundary umpire Graham Hilton throws the ball in. Greg Phillips will do the ruck work. Coming from behind is Brady, playing at centre-half back today. Curtis for the Magpies gathers the ball in, tackled strongly by Rowe. He couldn't get away with that one, Curtis, and he handballed the ball out of play.
Well, the crowd was screaming for holding the ball, but that was a fair decision. He got the handball away. In fact, that's Greg Hilton throwing the ball in. Of course, his brother's Graham, he's the field umpire. But they are twins, so anyone can make that mistake, David. The ball comes down the direction, tapped out by McGrath. Here's the running Pryor, over the top to Anderson. He's a live wire, Anderson, out to Rudi. Well picked up on the half volley. Round 2 players, 3 lost his footing. Now back to Bytheen. Bytheen over to Bubner. The handball wasn't good. Bubner under heaps of pressure. Oh, and he's been awarded a free kick for holding the man. Peter Bubner on a very acute angle. A very long kick. The distance won't be a problem here. It's the accuracy, and unfortunately that's not there. So that's the first score on the board. the Bulldogs a point. The Magpies yet to open their account.
That point might be an important one at the end of the day, Kim. Certainly the angle very, very difficult. Accuracy was no problem. Bringing the ball back into play for full-back. It's Phelps onto the left foot he goes. Forward looking for Lum, but the big mark is taken there by Bubner. And Peter Bubner's a magnificent kick. He decides to go short, however. I don't know where he placed that one. Craig even missed a centre. Could be costly. It won't, however, as the Magpies come out of defence. Coming through strongly was Anderson, and he's taken the ball out of play.
Well, two terrible passages of play. Firstly, a poor kick by Peter Bubner, which is most uncharacteristic. And then Craig Ebert taking his eyes off the ball and dropping a sitter at the back of the pack. It's Harvey over the top. Now the handball comes out towards Boyd. Done extremely well to get back into league football, Greg Boyd. Martin Leslie uses strong body work. Now the ball picked up by Greg Thomas. Down to Mandemaker. Oh, Penn to get one in the back, play on the call. Anderson roving well, kick around his body. It's another minor score, the second for the Bulldogs. They lead by 2 points. We're about 8 minutes into this first quarter.
Bulldogs have done most of the attacking on their home ground. They're second here for the season. They're still undefeated, so too are Port Adelaide. Unless it's a draw at the end of today, one of these sides will be sitting on top of the ladder. Phelps brings the ball back from full-back, looking wide for Lum. He thumped the ball forward. John Harvey was held when not in possession. The umpires called that. John Harvey from left half-back has the free kick. Port Adelaide haven't gone into their forward zone. Past centre-half forward to date. Through the centre they go. Both players held each other on that occasion. Dumping the ball forward was Anderson. Now bursting his way through was Pryor strongly. Scott Lee gathers the ball in, gets out a handball. Flintoff throws out the long handball wide to Little, playing on the wing today. He shot it short to Greg Thomas under plenty of pressure. In fact, he's received a free kick for being tackled too high. It was Abernathy who applied the tackle. Greg Thomas, the former Norwood player, drives the ball long into the forward line. John Harvey is there. He's hipped off the ball by Lally. Now bursting his way through there was Lum. In fact, Phelps onto Phillips. Anderson with the ball. Centre wing. Onto the left foot he goes, looking for Greg Phillips. Ball was thumped away strongly from him by Buckley. Now Buckley gathers the ball in, shoots off the handball to Moulds. He's under plenty of pressure, so too Jamie Thomas. Cleverly off the handball to Philip Graham. Forward he goes through centre half forward. Rudy's on the lead. And plenty of interference. Lum has the mark for the Magpies.
Fine defensive play by Craig Lum. He kicks out wide, looking for Curtis, couldn't take it. This allows Lally to swoop on the ball. Thought about the handball. Now swings round onto the left boot, driving long. Ball at the back of the pack, taken by Anderson. This will be the first goal as he goes all the way home. Beautiful play by the Little Rover. That's about his third or fourth touch early in this game. First goal for the day goes the way of the Bulldogs. They're on 1-2, leading by 8 points. Port Adelaide yet to score.
Kick number 6 to young Stephen Anderson. He's kicked 1 goal, 1. In a magnificent forward thrust. The Magpies couldn't hold the forward line of Central Districts. The Good Shepherd was applied by Bubner. Anderson ran into the open goal and put on the Bulldogs first for the day.
Fine little player is Stephen Anderson, recruited from Warrnambool. And he is an absolute pocket rocket. Into everything. Back in the centre should be a good duel in rucks. Andrew Moulds, a much improved ruckman. Craig Lum getting his opportunity due to the fact that Russell Johnston had to pull out with an ankle injury. Lum over the top, down to Jamie Thomas. Thomas thriving in that centre position, over to Greg Thomas. Thomas kick is high, look at the pace by Mandemaker, big leap, oh, well committed, John Harvey. Now the free kick awarded to Port Adelaide as Flintoff got in the back of David Harvey.
David Harvey gets it across to Phelps. Onto the left foot he went wide, looking for Phillips as well, down from centre half forward, chasing a kick. Greg Thomas carried the ball across the line for the Bulldogs, and the throw-in will take place at centre wing. Played just on 11 minutes into the first term. Central Districts, 1 goal, 8 points. Port Adelaide yet to score. In fact, they haven't even gone into their forward line. Now Pryor, acting captain today for the Bulldogs. His kick was not well placed through centre. Coming out was David Hutton, a late inclusion into the side. Hutton through, looking for Stephen Curtis. Ball went forward. Jamie Thomas back to Scott Lee. Lee under plenty of pressure again. Forward it goes through the centre to Little. And Little is at centre. Drives the ball to centre half forward. Plenty of pressure under Mandemaker, and coming across the top. Big mark is Craig Lum.
Well, the defensive work has been good by Port Adelaide. Craig Lum forming a line across centre half back, cutting off the big man power of the Bulldogs. As the free kick's been awarded on the outer side to Greg Phillips. Phillips having to move a long way down the ground to get a piece of the action. Now he's kicked to the true centre half forward position, or perhaps towards the flank. Players unable to take the mark. Rowan Smith there trying to get the ball out to Boyd. He gets his body over the top of that. Stacks on the mill, and umpire Daryl Schramm comes in once more.
Kim, the thing I've noticed, the Port Adelaide are dropping Craig Lum, who's rucking into the back lines. But along with David Harvey, they've been able to cut off the marking power of Bubner and Mandemaker up forward for the Bulldogs.
Magpies into attack. Ginniver under that, but that's a fine mark by Little. Brenton Little having a fine season so far, either on the half-back flank or the wing. His kick out towards Brady. The ball fisted away by Harrison. Now taken by Fiacci. Fiacci over to Anderson. Anderson's first kick for the game's a left foot pass out towards Smith. Beautifully displaced kick. Smith not happy with the attention he received. Page coming in a little late. Now this will test the kicking ability of Darren Smith. Kicked 8 goals, 1 last week, a remarkable effort. He leads the goal kicking with 15 goals, 4. Hasn't got the distance. Rowan Smith up early, but the mark taken by Phil Graham. Weaves his way out of defence. Handball over the top to Scott Lee. Back to Phil Graham. He's made about 50 yards by running. Now he kicks towards Bythene. Beautifully picked up Bythene. Brilliant play by the big chap. Onto the running Greg Thomas. Well, the Bulldogs look good. Out towards Bubner. Look at Bubner. He couldn't take it. He made up some ground, though. Now the handball back from Phelps. Over the top to Boyd. Now it's a Magpies chance to attack.
Forward goes Greg Boyd on the left foot. It wasn't well placed. Chipping in his Lally for the Bulldogs. Now he'll go onto his left foot. It's not a well-placed kick to Little. Little decides to go long through centre half forward. Nobody home for the Bulldogs. Chipping in for a good mark is Craig Lum. That's what I was saying earlier about Lum, Kim. He's dropping back into the back lines. He's cutting off that forward work that the Bulldogs have set up so well. Now Harvey free. Right half back, a well-placed pass to Stephen Curtis. Scott Lee giving him plenty of attention. It may even appear that Curtis is now ruck roving. He chips the ball off well. Placed it to Hutton. Hutton's kick went forward. Ginniver couldn't mark it. Now a pack develops. It's been pushed out of that towards Ginniver. On the left field, he'll go. Philip Graham chips in and he's marked at centre half back. Graham onto the right foot, goes out wide. He was looking for Bythene. He's put the ball in front of him at least, but there's no other player within 20 metres of Bythene, a Bulldog player that is. It's Martin Leslie. Handballs the ball off. Bulldogs not doing much running. They've stopped. They started well in the first part of this quarter. But now they've stopped as Port Adelaide go into attack.
Well, I wouldn't quite agree with that, David. They lost possession then. It was 1-on-4. It was a poor kick by Phil Graham, but both sides are providing plenty of run.
The point I'm trying to make, Kim, on that occasion, the ball went out to Bythene and there was not one Bulldog player that was prepared to run in support for him.
Point taken. Perhaps Graham should have gone the grandstand side.
Now Rowan Smith with the free kick. He's only 40 metres out, so the distance won't be a problem for him. The angle is somewhat acute. There's no breeze to speak of. Now Rowan Smith lines up the goals. The umpire's galloping across to his right and it's through for one behind. So Port Adelaide are on the board. 1 point to the Magpies. Central Districts 1 goal 2.
It'll be Greg Page to bring the ball back into play. Made his first day appearance for Central last week. Stood Nichols, and Nichols kicked 5-1. Now the ball towards Phillips. Phillips tackle. That should be holding the ball. In fact, it is. Fine tackle, Craig Brady. Brady has a look downfield, decides to kick long. Looking for Bythene. Bythene at the back of the pack doing some heavy body work. Couldn't gain possession. In fact, he's given away a free kick into the back of Martin Leslie. Leslie plays to the outer side. Out there is Greg Boyd, and that's a fine mark by Boyd. Boyd provided with some run from John Harvey. The mark is well policed by Lally. Now the ball out towards Scott Lee. Scott Lee's been a good player. Long clearing kick down towards Bubner. Full short of that player. Tricky bounce. Bubner first to recover. He's met strongly by Lum. Good work, Craig Lum. Now the ball out towards Boyd again, figuring in the play. So too is Jennifer. He's well tackled. Handball out towards Fiarchi. He went without it. This allows Scott Lee once again to bring the ball out. Scott Lee, this time it's a better kick. Out looking for Mandemaker, but it's fallen short. And another fine mark to the Port Adelaide defence.
Kim, that's Lum out there again. That's his 4th mark in defence. Moulds has got to get back down there and follow him down. Moulds is playing around centre. Lum is dropping into the back line. Now Greg Boyd, the kick forward for the Magpies. On the lead was Smith. Page spoiled successfully. Now he backs up in support again. Onto the left foot, well-placed kick to Brady. Now Brady can play on, that's what he decides to do. Onto the left foot he goes short. It's not well placed, however. Hutton couldn't mark. McGrath comes in. Now Geneva for the Magpies. Forward he goes. Underneath this one's Fiarchi, trying to use his body well. Out comes Buckley with the left foot to Rowe. Rowe's marked just inside the line. Grandstand side, centre wing. He wastes no time, Rowe. Galloping off, Harrison in pursuit. Kick is long into the forward lines, and they're just popping the ball in, giving their forwards no opportunity. Harvey off to Leslie. The Magpies are starting to get some run. They only played 5 days ago. They're taking themselves a little time to get into this game. Fiarchi, right half forward. Smith is moving forward. On the lead, that's the way he elects to go. Looking for Darren Smith. The ball's well placed. Moulds jumped across in front of Smith. The handball came out from Darren Smith to Rowan Smith. Rowan Smith on the left foot goes goalward bound, but it's offline. And again through for 1 behind. So Rowan Smith has scored Port Adelaide's 2 behinds. Central Districts are still on 1 goal too.
15 minutes gone of this first quarter. Shaping up to be a great game. Some great individual duels out there. The one between Greg Phillips and Craig Brady should be a beauty. There's certainly things happening with that Port Adelaide side. Curtis is ruck roving. At the moment, Anderson is in the middle, so they're using, well, 3 centremen appears to be, or 2 centremen. The ball comes at the back of the pack. Quick kick out. Out towards Greg Phillips. Abernethy was the one that passed that ball. Now it comes to Anderson one way, then the other. Has time to steady. Too far out to score. In fact, it was a mammoth kick. But is offline, and he gets a Bronx cheer from the crowd. And probably not really warranted. The 1986 McGarry medalist.
Well, he does that so beautifully. A 1-step kick onto the left foot. That's all he had time for. The distance was 50 metres, so he certainly boots the ball a long way. Accuracy, however, was not there on that occasion. Flintoff for the Bulldogs. Drives towards the outer. Underneath that one was Moulds, and the big fella's taken down a big mark. Moulds elects to kick short. On the lead was Little. He handballs across the top looking for Philip Graham. Greg Boyd cleverly tapped it back. Lum handballs it on to Geneva. Magpies are running again. Forward they go through centre half forward. Out on the lead was Michael O'Brien. He couldn't gather in the ball. Harrison is thrown away. Now Greg Phillips onto the left foot. He kicked 3 on his left foot last week. Has he started again in good style? He hasn't. 1 point, Greg Phillips. That was an interesting statistic last week. Greg Phillips kicked 4 goals from centre half forward, and 3 of those were with his left boot.
Yes, and he's most ungainly with that left boot, but was very effective last week. Pryor down the grandstand side looking for Thomas. Fine mark, Jamie Thomas. Plays on quickly, handball over the top. In fact, he got that one back himself. Good running football by Thomas. Pass out towards Mandemaker. Well spoiled there by David Harvey. Now the ball out to Greg Boyd. Greg Boyd's going to be run down. Just got the handball over to Geneva. Geneva, best rover on the ground last week. Pushes out a pass over the head of Buckley. The back of the pack is Page. He chances his arm. Oh, just got the handball away to Flintoff. Now Flintoff's under a bit of pressure. Cool as a cucumber though, Flintoff. The pass comes out towards McGrath. Oh, he decided to sidestep that one. That perhaps could have been wise. And the courageous Curtis wins himself a free kick for keeping his eyes on the ball. In fact, the free kick will go the way of David Hutton. Hutton looking for Smith. He couldn't take it. Tried to get the handball to Abernethy. Now it's Greg Thomas. Greg Thomas round his body out the direction of Bubner. Oh, Bubner received a B-grade bounce and put the pressure back onto John Harvey. This allows Lally to come through with the ball. Lally over to Little. Little out wide looking for Mandemaker. It's going to be 2-on-1 again. Rudi picked the ball up cleanly. Couldn't get the kick away. This allows Jeff Phelps to clear for the Magpies.
Magpies go forward. John Harvey by himself again. He's created plenty of space for himself in the first quarter of this match. Looking for Greg Phillips. He couldn't gather in the ball. Now Flintoff onto the left foot. Looking for Jamie Thomas. It'll be an interesting duel, that one, Kim. Now Scott Lee. Over to Brendan Little. Running through centre. The handball is off to Trevor Rowe. Now Rowe fakes the handball. Now he can line up the goals from 45 metres out directly in front. He won't make the distance, however. Just dropping back on that ball is big Craig Lum.
Well, as good as that Bulldog side looks up forward on paper, it's not proving effective at this stage. Port Adelaide doing it well in defence. Curtis inboard looking for Anderson. Anderson holds ground, the mark not paid. Now in there is Harrison. Harrison over the top to Greg Boyd. Boyd got around Brady with ease. Now pushes out the pass, looking for Smith. Oh, nearly a fine mark. It's been paid. Well, that's fair enough. The central crowd aren't happy. In fact, they're up on their feet. But Smith definitely stopped the flight of that ball, and he held it long enough.
There's plenty of emotion in this game for the spectators, Kim.
Well, it'll be interesting to find out what the attendance is. The record crowd, 16,000, and that's held by a Port Central game at Elizabeth Oval. And it's going to be very close today as the mark's taken by Phil Graham.
Rowan Smith ensuring that Phil Graham didn't play on. He does that now, however, to Pryor. Pryor running through half-back, puts in a long bomb, a long set outer wing. Flintoff has the run. He placed that ball well for Flintoff Pryor. Now Flintoff kickers also into the forward lines in front of Mandemaker. 3-on-1 this time, Mandemaker, so Port Adelaide have been quick to get back in defence. Now Anderson, Ebert from behind, took the punch, and it's holding the man. Craig Ebert says it all. He put his hands to his head. Now young Stephen Anderson, an opportunity of scoring his second goal for the Bulldogs. Former South Warrnambool player from Cowboy Neil's hometown. 2 goals here would make it very interesting for the Bulldogs. Kick goes forward. It is 2 goals to Anderson, 2 goals to the Bulldogs. They raced 2 goals too, leading Port Adelaide 3 points. We've played just on 15 minutes into the first term.
Well, Craig Ebert not having a good day so far. He's dropped an easy mark and he's given away a free right in front of goal. And Stephen Anderson's capitalised. He's been a fine player. That's his second goal, and we're 22 minutes into this first quarter.
Yes, I should apologise for that, Kim. I had a quick look. The clock has stopped on the outer here at Elizabeth Oval. We are, in fact, 22 minutes into the first term. Now the ball came out to Greg Thomas from the ruck work. Went out wide. Craig Ebert stands his ground and takes a very strong mark. Clever play by Anderson. He gave away a 15-metre penalty, but Ebert was off. So the Bulldogs are able to stop Port Adelaide from playing on quickly. It's almost a good mark taken by Brady. Harrison through half forward. Pushes it towards Ginniver, who has a bit of space. Racing in on him with Scott Lee, and he's put it out of play well, Scott Lee. He seems to get better every time we see him, Scott Lee, Kim.
Well, he's just so honest, David. He gives 100%. He runs straight at the ball or the body. He's quite a fearless player. He's having a good season. Moulds moves into front position. Managed to get hand a ball. It went straight down to Ginniver. Ginniver, the quick handball to Darren Smith. Tried to get it to Rowan Smith. Now taken by Greg Thomas around his body. Over the head of Rowe. Punch forward by Harrison. Taken by Greg Thomas again. Quickly tackled. Once again, it's that man, Scott Lee. Not sure which way to go. Now out towards Bytheen, front position. High mark, Bytheen. Held onto that one. Once again, he had that characteristic duck of the head. Hugs the boundary line, down towards Bubner. Over the head of Bubner. Missed by Phelps. Now he picks the ball up well. Over the top to Harrison. He has time to steady. Flanked by Craig Ebert. Drives long. Back there is Moulds, and he completes a fine mark.
Both sides haven't kicked well to position. Moulds just gave Rowan Smith a little tap on the chin, just to remind him what league football's about. Moulds through centre. Jamie Thomas gathers the ball in, plays on cleverly to Flintoff. Flintoff with the handball to Bubner, who looks for Rudi down forward. It's over his head. The ball's running. Could this be Anderson's third? He's got a bit of pace over Ebert. It is goal number 3 to Anderson. 3 goals, 2 to the Bulldogs. And they lead Port Adelaide on 3 points. We've played 2.5 minutes into time on.
Well, a magnificent start by young Stephen Anderson. He's kicked his 3rd goal. He's already had 8 kicks. A fine performance by the young rover. Too much pace for Craig Ebert once the ball gets to ground, and that's a great start for the Bulldogs. breeze travelling across the ground, so no real advantage to either side. And we've had 25 minutes of this first quarter, just into time on.
Ball at centre field, bounced down. Moulds got the tap for the Bulldogs. Lally with the ball went forward. McGrath fingertipped the mark, and on the third attempt he's been paid. He should look long for Mandemaker. That's the way he goes. Mandemaker drops back on it. He couldn't mark it. Ball's claimed by Craig Ebert. The handball went over the top to Harrison. Now Harrison comes grandstand side, but Jamie Thomas jumps in and grabs that mark. Jamie Thomas, kick number 4. Shoots towards centre. Moulds is there. He's gathered the ball in. Now Bytheen running wide, but there's some big men in the back lines for Port Adelaide. Cross down to Pryor. He breaks the tackle. He couldn't get a clear kick away, however. Greg Boyd shot off the handball. Running through was Fiarchi. Onto the left foot, he goes wide, looking for O'Brien. O'Brien had the ball punched away from him well by David Buckley, but he's in doing so given away a free kick.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
Bit ticky touchwood for mine, Kim, I agree with you. O'Brien, the handball off to the running player, Fiarchi, who made ground from centre field. Forward went the kick to Geneva. He couldn't take the mark, now tries to get off the handball. Intercepting well was Brady, who's playing well at centre half back. His kick is long, but not well placed, however, and Curtis marks at centre field.
The ever-reliable Stephen Curtis kicks out wide to Fiarchi. Fiarchi taking a bit of time to cover ground, playing for a free kick. Play on the call. In fact, the free kick's been awarded now. Oh, Lally staging for a free kick there. He won't get a logie with that effort. The ball will go back the way of George Fiarchi. Fiarchi drives long, looking for Smith. Smith came from 3 deep, couldn't get a hand of that. Picked up by Moulds. Moulds, in fact, out towards Anderson. Anderson in turn to McGrath. Oh, clean bowl, Trevor Rowe. Curtis over the top of that one again. Now out to Darren Smith. Darren Smith looking for O'Brien. Back there, McGrath again, long handball looking for the boundary line. He's not going to find it, though. Anderson gets there first. Greg Anderson, long kick. Curtis has the sun in his eyes. Underneath that, Brady, and that's a fine mark. Well, Stephen Curtis wasn't sure whether to commit himself there or not. He knew Phillips was coming, possibly just misread the situation slightly.
Brady decides to go for the outer side. Bubner had the ball bounce in front of him, well over his head. Greg Boyd with the handball off. It was Fiarchi onto Geneva. Geneva lines up the goal, well smothered by Graham. Page came out, he overran the ball. Now an opportunity for Darren Smith. He was hit high, play on called the umpire as Philip Graham comes out with the ball. He places it well to the runner in Rowe. Rowe playing centre wing on Phil Harrison. Now the long kick. Looking for Little. Abernathy used his body well and takes a magnificent one-handed mark. The siren sounds to end the first quarter here at Central District. The Bulldogs, 3 goals to 20. Lead Port Adelaide 3 straight points by 17 points.
Second quarter about to get underway at Elizabeth. It's the Bulldogs by 17 points. They're on 3-2. Port Adelaide yet to kick a goal, only 3 points. Ruckman couldn't get a hand of the ball. Now it's Moulds with a handball out towards Bytheen. Had a reasonably good first quarter. Martin Leslie in there working hard. So too is Greg Boyd, who had a fine first quarter. And once again, we'll have a bounce in the centre square. Moulds. This time it's Lum. Down towards Little. Little's kick towards Bubner. He tapped the ball intelligently over the back of the pack. Oh, now the ball's gone between Rudi Mandemaker's legs, and we've had a stalemate situation there. And this time it'll be Daryl Schramm to bounce the ball.
Kim, that was a little bit unfortunate. Mandemaker, it was, in fact, tried to shepherd for Bubner. Bubner couldn't quite take the ball in.
You did right, David.
Schramm with the ball, bounces. Lum in ruck, it was Bubner from behind. Ball went wide, running for the ball was David Hutton. He can't quite pick it up. Now it sits for him and he can. Decides to go long to the outer side, looking for Greg Anderson, who's on the lead. But the ball beats him across the line and the throw-in will take place on the outer wing.
David, do you think it'd be a fair comment? We know that Anderson's had that driving muscle injury, but whilst playing good football last week, he just didn't quite seem to have that dash about him.
Yes, I think perhaps he lacked some of that explosive pace that we know of him. Kim, I do tend to agree with you, but he still put in a pretty handy effort.
Geneva with the ball on the outer side, tries to centre the ball, looking for Rowan Smith at the back of the pack. It's a fine mark taken by Phil Graham. Kick number 7 for Phil Graham. Opts to use the left boot out towards Trevor Rowe. Trevor Rowe playing on the wing today, opposed to Phil Harrison. Now Rowe bolts. Up forward looking for Mandemaker. The Port Adelaide defence has played well. The ball tapped backwards. In there working hard was Lum again. Out towards Leslie. Over the top to Greg Boyd. Boyd's kick was smothered. Down in the direction of O'Brien. He lost his footing. Now tried to tap the ball back towards Smith, but it's been intercepted by Phil Graham. He was well tackled. The ball out to Buckley. Buckley tackled by Rowan Smith. Brady in there, and he was quite happy to see that ball go over the boundary line. In fact, umpire Rick Kinnear, only yards away from the action, adjudicated that as a throw.
6 kicks for Greg Boyd. A good display from centre wing for the Magpies. Forward he goes. The ball was punched forward by Pryor, down to Anderson for the Magpies. He goes forward. Now, Fiarchi can gather the ball if it sits for him. That's what he does, but he's tackled strongly by Page. Scott Lee tried to gather the ball in. Rowan Smith for the Magpies. And now umpire Rick Kinnear has no alternative but to throw the ball up. In fact, he'll bounce it.
And Scott Lee also had a good quarter, Dave. If we can pick up the stats on Scott Lee, he's had 5 kicks and 4 handballs, so that's 9 touches from the back pocket in the first quarter. That's a fine effort. And once again, he's in there paddling the ball over the boundary line, gaining his side a few metres.
Yes, Kim, there's been some good performances already in the first quarter for the Bulldogs. Philip Graham's had 7 kicks, 4 marks and 2 handballs, so he's certainly well in the play also.
Well, at this stage, it seems to be a game of defences, apart from the former young Stephen Anderson, who kicked all 3 goals for Central in the first quarter. Ball from Abernathy, pushed in towards Ginniver. Now Ginniver kicks long. Oh, big leap there, and fine mark taken by Harrison, who's drifted down from his wing. Phil Harrison, he's been known of somewhat of a goal-kicking wingman. He likes to float down into the forward area. It was a well-placed kick by Ginniver. And Phil Harrison has an opportunity to post his side's first goal. Kick number 5, 20 metres out, straight through the middle. And the Magpies are 1-3, trailing the Bulldogs 3-2, 4 minutes into this second quarter.
Yes, you called it well, Kim. He drifted in from his wing, and that's exactly what he did. Drifted into the opening, Phil Harrison. The ball came from Abernathy, who's had a quiet game, across to Ginniver, who hasn't played a bad game already. But it was Harrison drifting down from his wing, the goal-kicking wing, and popping through Port Adelaide's first goal.
Back to centre field, and it's 11 points the difference. Once again, Moulds opposed to Lum. Moulds with the tap down towards Flintoff, received a nice bounce. Now pushes out a lovely pass, looking for Mandemaker. Oh, Harvey into the back. The umpire didn't see it. That was a blatant push in the back. This allows Phelps to clear for Port Adelaide. Out towards Boyd. He couldn't get a hand of ball. Little in there, tried to punch the ball forward, but it only went as far as Leslie. Leslie, nice place kick over to Phillips. He's looking to play on quickly. He's been run down from behind, holding the ball. The crowd want play on the call. Brady tackled high, and that's been picked up by umpire Darryl Schramm. And the Central District centre half back will take the free kick. Kicks out wide and finds Flintoff. Flintoff starting to come into the game now.
Yes, he is, Kim. This is kick number 6 for him. He's a dangerous player when he gets going too, and he can certainly thrust the Bulldogs forward. That's what he's done on this occasion too, and he's found Stephen Lally. Now Lally's too far out to score. Mandemaker's dropping back into the goal square. Bythene's short at centre half forward, but he elects to go to Rowe. Also drifting down from his wing into the left half forward. Now Rowe elects to go short. On the lead is Mandemaker, so they're looking for the big fella. He's kept the ball in play. He's used his agility well. Now he chips towards centre half forward. Greg Thomas couldn't take the mark. Bythene came in, but John Harvey off the ground. Now Anderson had a free swing at it. Jamie Thomas shoots out the handball to Lally. Lally will go onto the left foot. He elects to go short, out looking for Flintoff. Flintoff's well in front of Abernathy. Abernathy doesn't appear to be quite fit to me, Kim. Now Flintoff using great skills, lines up the goals. Could he possibly put it through? He has. What a miracle goal, David Flintoff. Magnificent skills. The 4th goal on the board for Central Districts. And they now lead 4-2 to Port Adelaide, 1-3.
What an absolutely magical piece of play. One had the feeling that Flintoff might try to get around those 2 opponents. He likes to chance his arm. He was tucked away on the boundary line, and he just did it with sheer class, and that's an absolutely brilliant goal.
Brilliant goal is right. By Schramm will bounce the ball at centre field. 26 plays 9. 17 points the margin. 7 minutes into the second term and it's back to 17 points. That was the margin at quarter time. In fact, Port Adelaide didn't score a goal in the first term. Central District, on the other hand, got 3 through Stephen Anderson. Moulds it was with the tap down. It went to Abernathy. Onto the left foot he went. It found Brady, who played on quickly to Pryor. He burst his way cleverly through centre. Now he goes out wide. Bubner's on the lead and he's got it, Bubner. He can use his pace up forward. The Bulldogs could certainly use it. Now Bubner looking short. Mandemaker gathers the ball in, shrugs off the tackle from Harvey. Now he swings around onto the right boot. Can he line it up? Not quite the same skills as David Flintoff. The ball's been called back. The free kick appears to be going back to the back lines. It'll be taken by the Port Adelaide defender.
John Harvey.
John Harvey. Very difficult to pick up on that outer side with the sun as strong as it is. Perfect conditions for football. 26 degrees, kick number 8 for Harvey to Anderson, big mark. Playing close to each other, Anderson and Jamie Thomas. Kick number 6 for Anderson, so they're well matched at this stage of the game. Anderson's long left foot kick covers 55 metres. Into the forward line he went looking for Phillips. He couldn't take it. Brady was grabbed, we're not in possession. Umpire Rick Kinnear has seen the infringement and that's the way the free kick will go.
Well, a feature of the Bulldogs this year has been their versatility. Big players being able to play at either end of the ground. We've seen it with Brady and we've seen it with Bubner already this year. Kick forward. Leading in the chase was Abernathy. Couldn't control that. In fact, he's won himself a free kick. Bruce Abernathy, socks down, kick number 5. Kicks out wide, looking for Phillips. Over the head of Phillips and Brady, but once again, who's there? It's Phil Graham mopping up brilliantly. Decides to go short, looking for Brenton Little. He was well spoiled, play on the call, and in fact the free kick has gone back the way of Brenton Little. Both forward lines fairly congested. Little 6 kick, looking for Bubner. He couldn't take it. Graham down the ground. He's covering a lot of territory for a backman. Kick number 9 it was for Phil Graham, and it's been taken by McGrath. Already Lum has dropped back into the full back position, giving his backman support. This forces McGrath to kick short to Anderson. Well, they're outnumbered in defence. Anderson's not sure which way to go, so once again he tries to kick short, looking for Rudi, and that's been cut off by young Stringer, and that's fine defensive play by the Magpies. They're working hard back there.
Yes, they are, Kim. It's a game of defences. Central District's 4 goals on the board, Port Adelaide 1, so we've only had 5 goals in a quarter and 10 minutes of football. Rowan Smith off to Anderson. Kick was forward. Up went Scott Lee. He couldn't gather in the mark. Phillips in pursuit of him. He kicks it off the ground. Now Pryor for the Bulldogs. Pryor elects to go short. Running through centre is Greg Thomas. He sells the dummy well on Greg Boyd. Now chips in with a long kick into the forward line. Dropping back under that is Big Jeff Phelps.
Well, I don't know what Cowboy Neil can do about this. But they're just cutting off all their attacks at the moment. McGrath, first he's got 2 players to beat. Tried to get a handball away, being well pressured there by Hutton. Hutton taps the ball back towards, looking for Leslie. Unfortunately, for Port Adelaide, the ball has gone over the boundary line. And this will leave Bytheen and Lum to contest the ruck. Lum front position, Bubner from behind. Well taken, Flintoff weaving his way through the pack. Chip that out brilliantly to Lally. Great play by David Flintoff. "11 minutes into this second quarter. And it's Stephen Lally. Only about 30 metres out. Very slight angle. He's already picked himself up 7 kicks today as he ties up his bootlace. Important kick, the Bulldogs on 4-2, Port Adelaide 1-3. Now Martin Leslie, that was quite legal. Now Darryl Schramm was caught napping there. What happened there? Martin Leslie had marked out his mark and gone back, and he also caught Lally unaware as he was doing up his bootlace. The kick on the way after that episode is poor, so that's another point, and the Bulldogs 4-3, leading the Magpies 1-3.
Well, it may have been just enough to unsettle the inexperienced Bulldog. Martin Leslie cleverly took aim 5 metres behind his mark, and then he ran up strongly at Lally. I think it just put him off a little bit. Now Curtis for the Magpies, tackled strongly by McGrath. Lally an opportunity, tackled strongly by Greg Boyd. A feature of this game has been the tackling. Curtis gets the quick kick away. It's a scrappy old torpedo punt forward. O'Brien couldn't gather it in. Brendan Little was tackled when he didn't have the ball. In fact, it was David Buckley. Now he dives on the ball. Number 11 for the Magpies is Scott Hodges, who's now on the field.
Hodges, promising young player for Port Adelaide. Moulds with the tap, down towards Anderson though. And Anderson now out towards Curtis. Curtis straight through with a quick feed over to Hodges, now on to Boyd. Now Boyd chances his arm, he's run around 2 opponents. The kick on its way, looks pretty good. Back there, last line of defence. Was paid, but he couldn't get a hand to it. Great goal, Greg Boyd. That's Port Adelaide's second. They move on to 2 goals, 3, trailing the Dogs 4-3.
That's what they'll need to do, the Magpies. They'll need to move the ball in quickly. It's courageous work on that occasion by Stephen Curtis. He put the wobbly old kick forward, allowed the opportunity for Boyd to be running free. And he did chance his arm, just as Kim Dillon told you. He created space for himself. And at the 13-minute mark of the second quarter, the Magpies have their second goal.
Great game here at Elizabeth Oval. Near record crowd. Moulds up high. Neither ruckman could get hand of ball. Flintoff hit high. Play on the call. Now it's Harrison to drive the Maggies back forward. Graham couldn't hold that one. Scott Lee in there. So too is O'Brien. Graham nearly came out with it. Desperate work in there. Graham once again kicked that with the back of his boot. Scott Lee on top of the ball.
Well, it's not pretty football, Kim, but it's certainly very desperate.
Very desperate and very hard. As we see Andrew Moulds coming off the ground and Jeff Robinson coming onto the ground. We'll try and pick up where he's going to play. I couldn't imagine him going into the ruck as Flintoff grabs possession and kicks out wide to Trevor Rowe. Lally in to lend support. Now the kick out towards Robertson. Well, great move, Cowboy Neil. He snuck Robertson on. He's got a space in front of him. He's got time to steady. Straight onto the ground. First kick is not good. Oh, poor kick, Robertson. One can feel for Jeff Robertson. He wouldn't have had time to warm up, but gee, there wasn't a lot of pressure there, and that's a costly miss.
No, perhaps that's a good move by Cowboy Neil. Moulds hadn't had a great deal of influence on the game. He's giving an opportunity for Robertson. I dare say that perhaps Bubner or Bytham will go into the ruck. Ball out of play in the outer side. Played just on 14.5 minutes, and there's Bytham. He appears to be going to do the ruck work. Craig Lum, 29 for the Magpies. Neither could get a tap to it. Bursting his way through was Geneva. Got the handball off to Greg Boyd. Forward he goes, centre-half forward. Phillips flew high. It was punched away well by Brady. Now the handball out. Finally it ends up with Hodges. He goes goalward bound. Not far enough, however, and dropping back on the ball is Page for the Bulldogs.
Page plays on quickly out towards Scott Lee, chipping in beautifully. Greg Boyd over to Fiarchi, caught on the left boot, centres the ball well underneath that Brady, and that's a fine mark taken by Craig Brady. And as David Mackay mentioned earlier, it certainly is a game of defences, and that's evident when you look at the goal scorer. There's been all the small men and the running player that have kicked the goals. Neither full forward able to kick a goal, as we see a fine mark taken there by Harrison. Harrison plays on quickly out towards Greg Anderson. Anderson over the top to Geneva. Geneva in turn to Phillips. He was under plenty of pressure. This allows Mark Pryor, the acting captain for the Dogs, to clear. And his clearing kick has gone out wide looking for Robertson. Robertson, plenty of time to get past Lum. That's a good tackle by Lum. Good pressure by the big ruckman. He's going to be a tired boy by the end of the day, because as yet, he has not gone off the ball.
No, he's had to do most of the ruck work by himself. He now drifts down into the defence. 25 for Port Adelaide's Jeff Phelps, who'll do the ruck work. So they're obviously sharing a little bit of it around the ground. Bubner flew high. Robertson the handball out. The running player was Greg Thomas. Now Bubner trying to use his pace. But he's tackled very strongly by Tim Geneva. Geneva will take the free kick at centre wing on the outer side. Geneva wastes no time. He plays on quickly. Dropping back on it was Rowe. He missed an easy mark. Greg Phillips was lumbering in. Brady didn't have the ball. He was dragged to the ground by Phillips. And perhaps that is what umpire Schramm has seen. It is. So Brady has the free kick. Kick number 8 for Brady. He's done a terrific job on Phillips. His kick is a high one. Doesn't cover much distance, however. Robertson had the ball thumped away from him. Now row forward. Underneath that one's Martin Leslie and Bytheen. Neither could take the mark. Ebert with the ball. Quickly comes out. He chips it towards Stephen Curtis. Now Curtis also elects to go short. Jumping in front of that one was Philip Graham. Been a great player for the Bulldogs. Finally the ball runs clear. Out there for O'Brien. He looked for Harrison. He couldn't gather in the ball. Philip Graham can. The kick was smothered well. Graham was tackled when not in possession. Play out sent the umpire. Running in at the open goal appeared to be David Harvey. Has he goaled? He has. Oh, Hodges it is.
Young Hodges, David. It was a fine goal. So moves by both coaches having some effect on this game. Hodges onto the ground in this second quarter. He capitalised on a Bulldog mistake and snapped a fine goal. So the Bulldogs move on to 3-3-21, only trailing by 7 points now here at Elizabeth. The Dogs on 4-4.
17.5 minutes into the second quarter. Magnificent crowd at Central District Oval this afternoon. League leaders, Port Adelaide and Central District, undefeated at this stage, was Bubner with the big tap. Forward he went, Anderson onto the left foot, looking short. Drifting back was Harvey, he got a hand to it. Now Big Rudi comes out, he can line up the goals, that's the way he goes. The kick, however, is not well placed. It heads towards the forward pocket. Will it run out of bounds? It has. And the throw-in will take place 5 metres around from the point post.
Well, David, his ducking and weaving's brilliant for a big man, but his disposal's just not up to scratch at this stage.
Yes, I agree with you, Kim, but he's been under plenty of pressure, and that perhaps is one of the reasons why.
Once again, it's Bytheen. Opposed to Phelps this time. Bytheen with a tap, a very good tap down towards Lally. Lally still has the ball, lightning handball out towards Anderson. Oh, he's in more trouble than the early settlers. He's lost possession. The Bulldogs run the ball out of defence through the agency of Hutton. Hutton out towards Hodges. He kicked the last goal. Over to Anderson, back onto that left boot. His kick is long. Leading in the chase was Page. He got a poor bounce. Now it's Smith over the top to O'Brien. Let's see what type of bounce he gets. Up the ground, I think he's put it through. He has. Great play, Port Adelaide. And that's heady football by Darren Smith as he popped that handball over the top. Quick thinking as well by O'Brien. The soccer off the ground. So it's the Bulldogs 4-4, Port Adelaide 4-3, and there's only a point in this.
Yes, it certainly turned into a great game. The Magpies have kicked 4 goals this quarter. The Bulldogs have only been able to manage 1, so Port Adelaide now advance within 1 point of Central Districts. We've only played 19 minutes into the term, so there's plenty of time to go yet.
Bubner now having a run in the ruck. It appears that he's opposed to Phelps. At this stage, it looks like Lum's having a rest. Phelps with the tap. Now the ball pushed forward in the direction of Anderson. He tried to get a handball back towards Phillips. Jamie Thomas in there, been a little quiet this quarter. Jennifer with a quick kick away. Good defensive play by Buckley. Greg Boyd in there, rode the bump well. Now the handball out to O'Brien. O'Brien down towards Harrison. Scott Lee in there again, so too is Hodges, but it's Scott Lee who's been awarded a free kick.
Yes, he was at the bottom of the pack. Kick number 8 for him. The umpire rewarding the player going for the ball. Coming out with it was Brendan Little. He went short to McGrath. Handballs over the top. Little's kept running. The ball sits well for him. He elects to go to Mandemaker. They've looked for him all day, and finally they've found him. Big Rudi, he's only 45 metres out, so the distance won't be a problem for the big fellow. Bulldog crowd showing their support. They appreciate this big fellow. He had a magnificent game last week. Kicked 9 goals, 3 from only 14 kicks. This is kick number 5. His first direct kick at goal, and he's made no mistake with that one. Right through the middle, 5 goals for the Bulldogs, 4 goals, 3 Port Adelaide.
Well, that was a handy goal to the Bulldogs. They hadn't goaled since the 6-minute mark of this second quarter. And Rudi, with his first set shot, made no mistake. One gets the feeling there's going to be nothing in this game right throughout the day as we look at Rudi Mandemaker there, and got a bit of ventilation in the back of his jumper. And I tell you what, you need it out there today. It's pretty warm here at Elizabeth Oval.
Big Bulldog forward has his first goal. Darren Smith for the Magpies still hasn't scored one. So both players at the top of the goal-kicking list. Vital game for them. Robertson onto the left foot. He's found Big Rudi again. Could this be 2 in 2 minutes? He was just a little bit quick on that occasion for Paul Stringer. He led well. The ball was well placed from Robertson. So So Rudi Mandemaker, his second direct shot at goal. This will be kick number 6. Goal here would be very, very handy. Darren Smith has 15 goals before today's game. Mandemaker had 12. Gives him 14 for the season. 2 goals today, Mandemaker. 2 goals in 2 minutes.
Well, the advantage of a good forward. We mentioned earlier it had been a game of defences. Goals being kicked only by the running players. Anderson had 3 for the Dogs, and Flintoff chipped in for 1. The smaller players, also for Port Adelaide, it was Harrison who kicked there first, then Boyd, Hodges and O'Brien chipped in. Smith's yet to kick a goal, but now Mandemaker, the star central full forward, has popped in and kicked 2 quick goals, and that's a fine performance just before time on in this final second quarter.
Peter Bubner for the Bulldogs, Phelps for Port Adelaide. It was Phelps with the tap. It wasn't well placed. It went down towards Little. He couldn't gather in the ball. Finally, Lum off the ground. In fact, it was Lum in ruck before. Now Jamie Thomas with the bounce onto the left foot, looking for Flintoff. Back there is David Hutton doing a good job in defence for the Magpies. His kick, however, is a high one, not well placed, and Trevor Rowe will come in and mark. Now Rowe plays on. He has Bubner. Bubner's taken a good mark. Nobody moving up forward. Kick number 6 for Bubner. It's a short one. Over the top to Lally, who's found space. Now Lally goes forward. Bytheen, it is lumbering out in front of it, but he pushes it a little wider than that, looking for Flintoff, and Flintoff couldn't gather in the mark. In fact, the ball has gone out of play in the left forward pocket.
Well, we're nearly into time on in this second quarter. Port Adelaide have kicked 4. The Bulldogs have kicked 3. Ball comes down towards Flintoff. He couldn't control it. In there is Hutton. Tackled by Robertson. Leslie in there, tried to push Anderson out of the way. Now Anderson has a run of the ball. He can't pick it up. Soggers it off the ground. Oh, it's going to be a goal! Whoa! What a magical, miracle goal by Stephen Anderson. That's his 4th goal. We're just on time on in this second quarter. Oh, and luck favours, well, fortune favours the brave.
Oh, fortune favours the brave is right, Kim. He played that superbly under plenty of pressure. He knew he didn't have time to pick it up, so he kicked it off the ground. It dribbled through, just escaping the outstretched hands of big Paul Stringer in the back line. Great goal, goal number 4 to Stephen Anderson.
7 for the Bulldogs, 4-3 the Magpies. Bubner again. Big tap by Lum, taken by Pryor, out to Phil Graham. He's been a star so far today. His kick out towards McGrath. Didn't get a favourable bounce, but that's well picked up by Little. Oh, he did that well. Now he kicks out to Rudi. It's a well-placed kick. Oh, the Bulldogs are on fire at the moment. Well, looking ordinary for most of this quarter. Since the 20-minute mark, they've kicked 3 quick goals. And Mandemaker a little further out this time. I would say about 55 metres. He decides to go short, and he finds Jamie Thomas, who's been left unattended. In fact, such was the loose checking that Paul Stringer, who was on the mark from the Mandemaker kick, had to run across and now police the Jamie Thomas kick. Kick number 6 for Thomas. Off to the right slightly and just short. Taken by McGrath. Quick snapshot. Well smothered. Now it's Hutton, so the Magpies can run themselves out of trouble.
Yes, the Magpies can count themselves lucky that McGrath's shot was smothered. It would have gone through. Pryor with the mark. Off to Thomas, under pressure from Anderson. Gets it off to Lally. They concede ground, the Bulldogs. Back to Pryor. He goes long. Bytheen lumbers out after that one. The big fella has it. He tried to sell the dummy. Now from hands and knees. Off to Thomas, under plenty of pressure. Robertson. Onto the left foot he goes. Low, looking for Mandemaker. The tackle was applied strongly. Play on called the umpire. Anderson fisted the ball away, but taking the ball through is Craig Lum for a 1 behind. So they've conceded a point, the Magpies. 7 goals, 6 Central Districts, 4 goals, 3 Port Adelaide. There's now 21 points the margin.
And we've had 26 minutes of this second quarter. And it's Greg Phillips down in the back lines. Darren Smith has gone to centre half forward and Paul Stringer's gone to full forward, so Russell Ebert making some moves. Mark taken by Phelps. Plays on quickly to Anderson. Anderson with that long left foot kick, covers plenty of turf. Buckley went for a long thump. Curtis's was longer. Out towards Scott Lee. He's trying to get the ball towards the boundary line. In there is O'Brien, and he's bundled over the boundary line. Great defensive work by Scott Lee. And the crowd certainly appreciating this game here at Elizabeth Oval.
Throw will take place. Left half forward for the Maggies. They've taken their star full forward out of that position. They've moved him to centre half forward, as Kim Dillon told you. They're trying to get him into this game, Coach Ebert. The Archie couldn't gather in the ball. Finally, it's Abernathy. A long kick into the forward line. Stringer dropping back on it. Page had the mark for the Bulldogs, and he's claimed it. That's the away umpire, Rick Kinnear, saw it also. Now Page, former Queensland boy, played with Cooperoo. Onto the left foot wide to Jamie Thomas. Now Anderson's been playing wide of him the last 5 or 10 minutes. Thomas in short to Greg Thomas. He fumbled it. Now an opportunity for Smith. Out to Abernathy. It's almost slow motion football. Greg Boyd, the handball. Running player was Abernathy. Onto the right foot he goes, so he followed down well. He pushes the ball long into the forward line. Coming out was O'Brien. Now he tried to get the handball back to Curtis. Intercepted well by Buckley. Rowe pushes the ball out to Scott Lee. Lee, under no pressure, gets off the kick. Running wide is Greg Thomas. Thomas at left half back. Decides to chip with a short kick. Looking for Jamie Thomas. He sold the dummy well. Strong tackle by Darren Smith. He's starting to work himself into this game. Now Ginniver, the short kick forward. Underneath that one was Harrison, but it was over his head, and Scott Lee has the mark.
Scott Lee plays on quickly. This time he finds Greg Thomas. We've already had 3 minutes of time on in this second quarter as the ball's punched forward and taken by Brady. Brady kicks long now. Little's out there by himself. It's 2-on-1. He takes a fine mark. He wants to play on quickly because Anderson's got a paddock. He decides to go across ground to McGrath. Oh, this could be fatal. Oh, where's quick recovery taken by Lally. Anderson still by himself. And finally it ends up with the live wire Little Rover. He plays on quickly. His kick wasn't good. Perhaps he could have steadied David. So it's just a point to the Bulldogs. They now move on to 7 goals 6, leading Port Adelaide 4 goals 3.
4 goals 2 is not a bad return from a Rover. You're right though, Kim, he could have steadied. He had a little bit of time, but he was well clear at the stage he took the ball. Now Greg Boyd, the handball over the top to Ginniver. Ginniver running. Tries to go long. The kick is high, however. Underneath that one, Brady. O'Brien punched from behind. Now Hodges for the Magpies. He has a bounce now too. He can line up the goals. That's the way he goes. Can he put it through? He can't. The kick is offline. Cross to the left it goes and through for one behind. So Scott Hodges advances his tally to 1 goal 1 since coming on early in the second term.
Once again, it'll be Greg Page. This time he opts for the outer side, looking for Greg Thomas. In fact, it's Trevor Rowe.
They have plenty of loose runners, the Bulldogs, Kim.
Well, the Port players not picking up their men like they were earlier in the game. Kick number 9 for Rowe. This time he goes short to Bubner. Bubner pushes this one out looking for Bythene. He's found that player. Craig Ebert comes in late. Bythene plays on quickly. It's a poor handle over to Lally, but Lally, he's equal to the occasion. Now on to McGrath. Oh, he thought about going. Just had a little peep.
Couple of little short steps just to test the water, Kim.
Certainly appeared that way. There's the siren to end this second quarter. So this is a very important kick for McGrath. Malcolm McGrath yet to score a goal in this game. About 45 metres out. And that kick is good. It's through the middle. It's a great way to finish the quarter, and it's a good quarter for the Bulldogs. They finish on 8 goals 6. Port Adelaide 4 goals 4, so that's 56 plays 28.
It's the Bulldogs by 28 points as we commence the third quarter at Elizabeth Oval. The league leaders undefeated, Port Adelaide and Central District. The winner will be sitting on top at the end of today's games. The tap came down, nobody could get it clear. Finally it was left to Flintoff, who pushed out the handball. Punching the ball on for Port Adelaide was Hodges, finally kicked off the ground and ending with McGrath. He was hit high and the free kick will go the way of Central District's Malcolm McGrath. McGrath at centre wing. They kicked 5 goals in the second term to Port Adelaide's 4. In fact, the Magpies couldn't score a goal in the first term. Finally, the ball came down to Bythene. He couldn't gather in the mark. Lally was hit high by Ebert. In fact, it might even be Greg Thomas. It is. Thomas decides to play on. Through centre half forward he bounds. Pushing the ball in long to Mandemaker, but again it's 2-on-1. Mandemaker got a push, but no free kick. Lum got the handball out. The runner was John Harvey. Now Harvey decides to go with a short kick, looking for Anderson. Chipping in there, however, was Brendan Little for the Bulldogs. His kick is forward. Lally is free. Now he can line up the goals, Lally. That's the way he goes. He chips it into the goal square. Up is big Rudi. He could have marked it. He's missed that one. Decides to jump on top of it, but Tim Ginniver's quick enough to gather the ball in for the Magpies in defence, and a ball up will take place.
Well, the Magpies struggling for a little bit of pace. Whilst the big men are doing a good job in defence, Craig Ebert is struggling with Greg Thomas and Anderson. The ball goes out of bounds. In fact, it's a free kick, and that'll go the way of Greg Phillips. Phillips thrown into defence late in that second quarter. Kicks out wide. From behind was Bubner. He couldn't take it. Ginniver in there. Still working hard for the ball. Eventually got it out. Now the ball comes forward once again, looking for Boyd or Anderson. But the ball bounces over the boundary line, and we'll have a throw in on that right forward flank on the outer side.
Greg Boyd in screen. Made a remarkable comeback to league football after having a disc operation. They told him he'd never play. Bytheen down to Anderson. The Bulldogs into attack yet again. Big thump away came from Phillips. Now the Bulldogs yet again go forward. Martin Leslie it was who couldn't gather in the mark. Now Jamie Thomas, the handball off. Being pounced upon was Greg Thomas. Now Abernathy out with the ball. He shot off the handball long to Stephen Curtis. Curtis will be run down if he's not careful. Throws it off to Greg Anderson. Greg Anderson on the left foot forward. Darren Smith finally can't mark. Punched away well by Page. He's held the full forward well. Ball was held in there. It was Fiarchi, and umpire Rick Kinnear will bounce.
Bubner to do the ruck work. Came down towards O'Brien. Quick kick around his body. Off the back of the pack. And Page is quite happy to see that one trickle over the line. The Bulldogs 8-6, 54 points. The Magpies 4 goals 5.
Page will bring the ball back into play from full back. It's a long kick coming towards the grandstand side. Brendan Little it is with the mark. He plays on quickly to Anderson, who's been a superstar. In fact, David Buckley with the kick forward. Kick number 14 for Anderson. Looking for Bytheen. He's up and he's marked in front of Martin Leslie. Shot off the quick handball to McGrath. McGrath wasn't quite ready for it. Now evades the tackle. Shoots the short one in, and he's found Greg Thomas. Greg Thomas is 65 metres out. He's not a long kick, so the distance he won't be able to make. He's looking for a short pass. No leads forthcoming. Now goes across field with kick number 12 to Anderson. Anderson moves it even wider. The man vacant out there was Jamie Thomas. And the Bulldogs centreman now 55 metres out. He's a good kick for goal, so the distance he may well be able to, in fact, achieve. Kick number 9. It's not a good kick, however. It's going to drop short. Running in to pick up the ball is Phillips for Port Adelaide. He's able to have a bounce. Now 2. He'll go onto the left foot, and I wonder whether there's something wrong with his right foot kick. Kim, I've seen him kick left foot all day today and most of last week.
Yes, those 3 goals last week, and had a shot today with his left foot. Of course, another left foot kick then. We'll keep an eye on him and see whether we can pick anything up. Meanwhile, it's Peter Bubner. He's getting down there to do the ruck work. In fact, it's Bytheen front position, taken by Robertson. His handball was intercepted well by Abernathy. The kick forward is taken by O'Brien. O'Brien, long way down the ground, plays out wide to Curtis. Curtis hasn't stopped running, sidesteps beautifully. Now pushes out a pass towards Fiarchi. Now Fiarchi should take off here. His short pass back in the middle, the sun's there and all. That was a tentative mark taken there by Jeff Phelps, who's playing up forward. He had the sun in his eyes, and he managed to control that one well. And now he has an opportunity from about 40 metres out. Magpies haven't scored a goal since the 19-minute mark of the second quarter. And they still haven't scored one as that one's knocked over the line. So the Magpies move on to 4 goals 6, trailing the Dogs 8-5. 8-6, in fact, 54 points.
It was David Buckley who punched the ball across the line, conceding the point. Kick came out to Scott Lee, used his pace well in front of Geneva. Goes into Brendan Little, who's playing centre wing today. Evades Boyd, now drives in long to Rudi. Some close attention by Phillips, no free kicks in the umpire. McGrath came through, he was hit high. Again, they're letting the play flow. But now umpire Schramm will have a ball up. Phillips doing a little bit of heavy artillery work there, Kim.
Yes, well, I think he's going to make Rudi earn his kicks now.
He certainly let Malcolm McGrath earn his also.
Umpire Daryl Schramm. Bytham with the tap, straight down towards Craig Ebert. That's smothered off the boot. Now tapped on to Curtis. Curtis over the top to O'Brien. That's better play by the Magpies. Now O'Brien's got a bit of dash. He's had 3 bounces. Spears in a very low pass, and that finds Geneva. Now Smith wants it in one-on-one. That's the way Geneva goes. Smith front position. Well spoiled by Page. Back of the pack is Buckley. Buckley decides to take a U-turn, then back the other way. Now gets the clearing kick, and that's well dispatched out towards Pryor. Pryor, the acting captain for the Bulldogs. He runs down that outer wing, kicks out looking for Bytham, and Bytham takes another fine overhead mark. Plays on quickly. Over towards Little. He's well tackled. Play on the call. Magpies out of trouble through the agency of Fiachi. Fiachi out towards Harrison. So the ball going up and down the ground pretty quick here at Elizabeth Oval. Front position, Abernethy, and the mark's been paid. Bruce Abernethy, yet to kick a goal. Coming up for kick number 9. Would be one of the best kicks in league football. Abernethy also having a little bit of trouble with his boot. Bit of heavy strapping there on his right hand. Of course, that's where he broke that knuckle early in the season in the Escort Cup games. Doesn't seem to be causing him too many problems. He's also got the 2 fingers strapped together. So I would imagine it would inconvenience him slightly. Let's see what the kick's like. It's low. It's accurate. It's a goal. Great goal to the Port Adelaide side. A much needed goal. They move on to 5-6. Trailing the Bulldogs 8-6.
Yes, Kevin, a timely one that was too. They haven't scored a goal, as you called, from the 19-minute mark of the second term. We're now at 8.5 minutes into the third term. So they certainly need to get a move on forward if they've got any chance of pulling the Central District lead back.
Back in the middle, it's Bubner to do the ruck work for the Dogs. He's opposed to Lum. Lum with the tap. Well taken by Little. He's been a good player today. Over to Jamie Thomas, another good player. His kick's out. Well, he's short, in fact. Harvey leads in the chase of that one. And that's been well taken by Bytham. So Bytham having a better game today. Decided to go onto the left boot, and he's found Rudi. Now, Mandemaker is a long kick, but he'd be about 60 metres out here. So it's going to take one of his best kicks. At 10 minutes gone of this third quarter. Kick number 8 for Rudi Mandemaker. Already has 2 goals. Oh, he's given that a ride. That's a beauty. A magnificent kick by Mandemaker. That's his 3rd goal. So the Bulldogs answering with a quick reply here at Elizabeth Oval in front of what could be a record-breaking crowd.
Yes, you might be right, Kim. 16,029 people saw the Port Adelaide game in July 1984. I think we may even have a larger crowd than that again as Rudi booted through his 30. Kicked 9 goals, 3 last week. And if he can get firing, I'm sure Central Districts will have a much better chance of winning by a big margin.
Lum and Bubner again. This time it's Bubner. Punched on by Curtis. Out in the direction of Brady. Curtis in there fighting hard. Geez, a terrier. He never gives up, Curtis. Now the ball tapped out towards Thomas again. Jamie Thomas spears out a pass. It's Mandemaker again. 10 yards in front of Phillips. Now, I think I can be reasonably confident, David, in saying that he should struggle to make the distance here.
Well, you called it earlier, Kim. He's a good kick. You know, nothing's beyond this big fellow when his confidence is up, but I agree with you. He'll need his best kick to get a goal.
He's about 65, 70 metres out. Oh, strike me. Peek, have a look at that. Dead centre. Well, Mandemaker kicked 2 in the second. He's kicked 2 in the third. He has a personal tally of 4 goals. The Bulldogs move on to 10-6-66, pulling away from the Magpies, 5-6-36. And listen to the crowd chant Rudi.
Yes, it's a big Rudi going around the ground. It'd probably be at least half of the crowd calling it. 4 goals to the big fella, and they've got Greg Phillips on him. Perhaps Martin Leslie might shift to fullback, and Greg Phillips might come out to pick up Bytheen at centre half forward.
Lum again, Bubner with the tap down towards Lally, cleverly tapped on to Greg Thomas. Front position Harvey, Robertson in there, tried to get the handball out to Bytheen. Now it's Leslie, he couldn't get a kick away. Bytheen in there, oh great play the big man, out towards Bubner, touch of the fumbles. Lally over to Flintoff, snapshot, through, it's another one. Oh, 3 goals this quarter to the Bulldogs. And listen to the crowd go wild. Flintoff's second goal, they both been brilliant passages of football. And there's no stopping this Bulldog side.
Yes, we've played just on 12 minutes into the third term. It's the Bulldogs with 3 quick goals. Port Adelaide have only got 1 in this term, so they're stretching their lead out, the Bulldogs. The crowd's right behind them. They've certainly got an adrenaline pump.
And it's the small men doing the damage. Greg Thomas, Lally, Anderson, Jamie Thomas. The runners of Central District providing a headache for Port Adelaide. Brenton Little, another one of their better players. Now the ball down towards the centre half forward position. Philip Graham back there. So too is Hodges. His handball out towards Curtis. Curtis has to get through 2 players, couldn't do so. Brady in there, Curtis again. And eventually umpire Rick Kinnear says, hop up boys and I'll have a bounce.
The Bulldogs have a 36-point lead, so the Magpies will have to get moving. Port Adelaide coach Russell Ebert certainly be very worried at this stage. It's not over yet, however. They're certainly capable of a revival, the Magpies, if they can get their forward set up. Lally into the forward line with a long kick. Coming out, good skills, Flintoff. He pushed the handball back to Brendan Little. Now Little goes forward. Anderson's there, so too Mandemaker. He came out, the big Rudi. Phillips onto the left foot yet again. He goes wide, no one home for Port Adelaide. Brendan Little, he plays on, he'll have a bounce. Harrison calling for it at centre half forward. He elects to go to the square. Big Rudi's up. The big fella's marked. What a good mark, Rudi Mandemaker. They look for this big fellow all the time, and he doesn't let them down on this occasion. So Mandemaker with 4 goals, 2 in this term. An opportunity of scoring his 5th goal for the game. At the other end of the field, Darren Smith having a very quiet day. In fact, Darren Smith hasn't scored a goal. Greg Page has done an outstanding job minding Smith. Now Rudi Mandemaker. Coming in, kick number 10, lining up for goal number 5. The big fellow has his confidence up. Bulldogs fans are right behind him. He's hit the post. Well, bad luck, Rudi. You can see the grimace on his face.
Well, full credit to Rudi Mandemaker. He worked hard over the summer. He shed about 12 kilogram. And he's reaping the benefits now. Fine mark taken by Robertson.
Kim, you can really sense this game warming up.
It certainly is, especially for the Bulldogs. That's a short kick, but not a good kick. It's been well intercepted by Ginniver. Ginniver's kick's a wobbly one, looking for Anderson. Running through is Marty Leslie. His handball over towards the running Curtis, in turn to Hodges. Smith wants it to the left of the field. It was heading out that way. It was a lucky kick taken by Phelps. Now to Darren Smith. He can run into an open goal. He's kicked his first for the game. Well, that's some consolation for Port Adelaide, keeping themselves in touch. They move on to 6-6, trailing the Bulldogs 11-7.
Yes, the ball came in from Curtis. Handball was on. The runners were going through half forward. It finally ended up with Phelps. Phelps was able to put the ball across to Darren Smith, well shepherded by Fiachi. The little fellow used his body well just to give Darren Smith enough room to line up for his straight goal. That's his first. Port Adelaide will be looking for a few more from him.
They certainly will, David, and they're struggling to get the ball out of the centre. We mentioned before the small men of the Central District side having a telling effect on this game. Bubner with a tap. That's better. It's taken by Ginniver. Unfortunately, the kick went straight to Phil Graham. Graham out wide. Kick number 11 for Phil Graham, and that's been taken by Lally. He's also starting to make his presence felt in this game. Kick number 13 for Lally. And that's found young Anderson. Anderson already with 4 goals, over to Little. Little having a good game as well. Still got plenty of run as he got around Anderson easily. Kick in, looking for Rudi. Oh, tried the one-hander. Now the ball taken there by, appeared to be O'Brien in defence.
Yes, and Rudi nearly took that ball too, Kim. So his confidence sky high, Rudi Mandemaker. Big fella can do anything when his confidence is up. Pryor off to McGrath with the handball. The short kick has found Trevor Rowe. He'll play on. Onto the left foot he goes, back in the goal square, 2-on-1 against Mandemaker. Phillips used his body to shepherd well. And dropping back there into the back line is Lum. Now Lum plays on. Shot the long handball out wide. John Harvey with the ball. Chipping him with a short kick. He's found O'Brien. O'Brien manhandled by McGrath. Gave away what I think may have been a in fact it was a professional 15-metre. Play on goes O'Brien. Hodges was swamped. Bubner couldn't take the mark. Phelps tried to get the big punch away. Finally it came to Bubner. Left foot forward. Underneath that one was Thomas. He couldn't mark it. Stringer missed it for Port Adelaide. Thomas was held and the umpire has seen the infringement. It was against Martin Leslie. Kick number 14 for the former Norwood player. He goes forward. Out on the lead. There's a big leap there from Little. He couldn't take the mark. Now Anderson back in the back lines for Port Adelaide and he'll clear.
The back of the pack, it's Lally again, reading the ball off hands well. His pass out wide and just found Flintoff inside the boundary line. Flintoff decides to centre the ball, looking for Robertson. Chipping in there was Thomas. He couldn't take it. Here's Anderson again. Could this be goal number 5? Yes, it is. Great play by the little rover. Read that superbly. And he manages to post the Bulldogs' 12th goal. They move on to 12-7-79. Port Adelaide 6 goals, 6-42 as Eddie Hocking comes onto the ground for McGrath.
Yes, Malcolm McGrath is off. We've played 18.5 minutes into this third term. And there he is, the star rover for the Bulldogs side. Had 17 kicks and he's kicked 5 goals in an impressive display, this young rookie from South Warrnambool.
Certainly is, David, and with Hocking onto the ground, this could be more problems for the Magpie side. He's kicked 8 goals in the last 2 games in the reserves and he's got plenty of pace. And against a taller opponent like Harvey, he could do some damage down in that pocket. Let's see what happens as Thomas brings the ball out towards Moulds. Now over to Rowe. Rowe tried to swing the ball back looking for Mandemaker, but it was a poor kick and it's been taken by Ebert, who uses the run of Phillips.
Yes, Ebert chipped in a timely fashion to intercept the kick that was meant for Mandemaker. Phillips kick to Anderson. On it goes to Curtis. He's got plenty of pressure out there, Curtis. Finally, it's Brendan Little playing a good game at centre wing. He comes away with the ball, shoots towards centre half forward, and out is David Hutton to mark. Hutton will waste no time. Port Adelaide are well behind. O'Brien with the mark. 79 plays 42. So it's a 37-point advantage to the Bulldogs as Harrison bounds through half forward. He has time for a bounce, a wobbly old kick forward. Darren Smith well underneath that one. Greg Page there in support. It was David Buckley hit strongly by Smith. But Page with the kick out of defence has found Flintoff. Now Flintoff has missed that. He took it too easily. Now he shoots out the handball, a long left-hand handball to Graham, who waddles through centre. He looks for Hocking, the ball too long for him. Harvey there for Port Adelaide. He's played a good game from half-back Harvey. Goes through centre. Ball was off Hodges. Onto the runner in Greg Boyd. Now O'Brien. Over the top. Underneath that one's Jenner and he's marked. Port Adelaide Rover elects to play on. He goes short. Smith's there. Perhaps it was an unwise move, but the marker's paid. So it has come off after all. In fact, no, it's the free kick that's been paid. Smith plays on into an open goal. Goal number 2 for Darren Smith.
Well, loose checking by Scott Lee as he allowed Darren Smith to run off the mark and into an open goal. I doubt whether Smith would have missed the goal from only about 12 metres out. But one never knows. They've been missed there before. And that's the second goal to Darren Smith, both in this quarter. And that gives the Magpies a little bit of hope to get themselves back into this game.
Yes, they're now trailing by 31 points. They'll need a little bit of a burst, and that's the man that can do it. Darren Smith, 2 goals in 5 minutes. We're now at the 20.5-minute mark of the third term. Daryl Schramm is the umpire to bounce. In ruck is Moulds back on the field for the Bulldogs versus Lum, the late replacement for Russell Johnson, who's out with an ankle injury. The handball came out to Curtis. Curtis goes direct. Smith is out on the lead. Page giving him plenty of attention, but the big fella's marked. Oh, umpire Schramm is back on that one. He said it was a mark, now a 15-metre penalty. Well, Greg Page thought he got a hand to that first. Smith was confident he had the mark. And now Darren Smith, an opportunity to post his third in 6 minutes. When this fellow fires, he looks very, very good. 3 goals in 6 minutes to Smith. Port Adelaide, could they be on the way back?
Well, that was a silly 15-metre penalty. Once again, bringing Smith closer to the goal front. It happened only minutes earlier, or maybe, in fact, only a minute earlier when Smith was allowed to run into that open goal. This time they brought him 15 metres closer after disputing the mark. And Darren Smith with 3 quick goals. And the Magpies only trail by 4 goals won. 21 minutes into this third quarter.
3 goals this term to Darren Smith, so 3 goals to him for the game. 4 to Rudi Mandemaker at the other end as the league's best full forwards go head to head. Ball came out, Little who shot the handball off. Pryor sold the dummy well and came around on the left foot. Looking forward for Lally, he couldn't mark. Handball came across to the runner in David Hutton. Through half forward he goes and he's found his man. In fact, it was Hodges to Ginnivan, back to Hodges to the 1-2. He can run into an open goal. He sells the dummy. Into the open goal he goes. He's got it. Or has he? The umpire says, yeah, it's a goal. We had to wait for that, and Hodges has the goal. That's his second for the game, and Port Adelaide are certainly on the way back into this game.
Well, great play by young Scott Hodges. Good running football. He took a fine mark. The handball over to Ginnivan was risky, but he got it back in the 1-2, then chanced his arm, got around opponent, and kicked a great goal. So 4 quick goals to Port Adelaide, and they're certainly back in business. They trailed the Bays by 23 points last week, then managed to run all over the top of them at the park. Can it happen again today?
Oh, well, they've only had 5 days to recover, Port Adelaide. The Bulldogs have had the full week. Of course, Port Adelaide played Glenelg on Easter Monday. Will their legs be there at the end? Anderson with the kick. It was a quick one. Rowe was there with O'Brien for Port Adelaide. Martin Leslie tried to burst his way through. He was thrown to the ground by Lally. And Martin Leslie has the free kick.
David, there's only 19 points in this game.
Yes, nothing in it, Kim. It's anyone's game at this stage. Central District look to have it well within their keeping early in this third term. Now another free kick going the way of Abernathy. It's kick number 11 to Abernathy, so he's now coming into the game. 23 minutes into the third term. Abernathy at half forward. Darren Smith is circling around looking for the ball. That's the way they head. 2-on-1 back there. Smith nearly marked it. The ball went through his hand. He used his body well. Scott Lee comes in desperately. Now Moulds, tackled strongly. Philip Graham. A long handball off to Jamie Thomas. Played very well, Thomas, today. His handball is long to Little. Under pressure. He shoots the handball back to Jamie Thomas in support. Out to Anderson, the star rover. He has a bounce. Now through half forward, looking for Rudi. Phillips is there. He couldn't quite get the thump away. Martin Leslie in support. The handball wasn't well placed to O'Brien. Now Anderson again. He's a battler. Ball was thrown out strongly towards the boundary line. In fact, it's gone out of play. So good work in defence by David Hutton. He was under plenty of pressure, but he still was able to get his handball away.
Just under time on in this third quarter at Elizabeth Oval. The ball's kicked by Anderson and it's taken by John Harvey. John Harvey back looking for O'Brien. Bryan couldn't take it, nor could Abernathy. Now he does so. Gets the kick out towards Central District runner, which is Peter Nix. Hodges pushing the ball forward. Port Adelaide supporters hoping for a push in the back, but umpire Darryl Schramm wouldn't have a bar of that. And it'll be Greg Hilton to throw the ball in right in front of our commentary position.
Courageous work by Hodges. The umpires have been playing the man in front all day. Tap went towards Graham, cleverly on to Jamie Thomas, off to Hocking, who got a B-grade bounce. Now Harrison bursts in. Martin Leslie fumbled at the crucial stage. Thomas shot the handball away, but he was tackled high and tripped, indicated umpire Schramm. I've rarely seen a player get a free kick for 2 infringements, Kim.
Well, he worked hard for that one, Jamie Thomas.
Thomas with the kick, out wide. Anderson could have been paid the mark or the free kick. Either way, he has the kick at half forward. Now Phillips is on Mandemaker. This is kick number 20. The Decides to play on around the man on the mark. Can he line up the goals? He has a bounce. He lines them up. The kick's on its way. Offline, however, and through for one behind. So, good day by Stephen Anderson. He has 5 goals, 3 to his credit, the little rover, from 20 kicks.
Well, he treated Craig Ebert with contempt then, showed him the ball, then darted around him off the mark. Certainly has got plenty of front. Having a fine game. 5 goals. As we see Greg Phillips about to bring the ball back into play.
I noticed Kimmy kicked that one with his right foot.
Yes, it looks like it could be okay. He just seems to prefer to use his left foot instead of straightening his body. And there's nothing wrong with the way he kicks the ball with his left foot. He just looks a little bit awkward as Greg Boyd brings the ball out towards the centre of the ground. That's a fine mark by Philip Graham.
He's played a good game, Graham, today.
Certainly has. Kick number 13 for Philip Graham. Out wide looking for Robertson. Good mark taken by Jeff Robertson in front of young Paul Stringer. Robinson, short kick, looking for Little, and this bloke would have to be close to best on ground. He's just ran amok since that second quarter.
He's been a great replacement for Russell Shields.
Certainly has. Slipped down from his half-back flank to the wing position and made it a real winner today. Handball by Lum. Out there is Hutton paddling the ball in front of him, and they'll go out of bounds in front of the scoreboard, which reads 12-8. The Bulldogs 80 points, Port Adelaide on 9-6, 60 points.
They've almost played 28 minutes into this third term. 12 goals, 880 Central Districts, 9 goals, 660 Port Adelaide, so it's a 20-point advantage to the Bulldogs as Bytheen thumps the ball towards the boundary line and another throw-in will take place. Craig Lum, 29 on screen for Port Adelaide, a late inclusion. Russell Johnson out with an ankle injury before the game. Bytheen got the tap. It went to Robertson. He was under plenty of pressure from Leslie. Now Greg Thomas shot out a quick handball. Lally picked it up under plenty of pressure also. Robertson. Now Flintoff, the man with the skills. On to Hocking. He didn't give him much opportunity of running through that ball, Flintoff, and he's disappointed with himself, as you can see. Shaking his head. He knew he did the wrong thing.
He's done some very good things today.
Yes, he has.
Unfortunate for Hocking. Probably really didn't want that one. Big leap by Bubner, and that's a fine mark. Oh no, there's been an infringement. The free kick will go the way of Greg Anderson for a push in the back. Anderson, kick number 12, been a little bit quiet. Haven't seen any of those explosive dashes which we're used to seeing from Greg Anderson as the ball comes out towards Bubner again. Back towards centre half forward, and that's a fine mark by Lum. Craig Lum been a good player today. Hutton brings the ball forward, another big mark taken by Scott Lee.
Yes, we've seen some fine marks today. The weather's been conducive to good marking.
And there's 2 15-metre penalties against O'Brien. Scott Lee with his 12th kick. It's a short pass to Trevor Rowe. Rowe chances his arm. Now he bolts off. Has time to have a shot. Long drop punt kick on the way. Umpire makes a little bit of ground that's just offline. The Bulldogs move on to 12 goals, 9, leading Port Adelaide on 9 goals, 6.
29.5 minutes into the third term. Trevor Rowe was a trifle unlucky on that occasion, not to goal. The play certainly deserved it. Now Phillips kicks the ball to himself. He has a little fumble. Now he elects to come wide, looking for Curtis. Trevor Rowe over the top, but Curtis has the strength to recover. Now his kick is well placed. Forward it goes and underneath that mark at centre wing. None other than Michael O'Brien. O'Brien receiving plenty of attention from Bytheen. Schramm calls a 15-metre penalty. Now O'Brien looking for Darren Smith. He came out on the lead, but Greg Page there, and Page has done a very good job today on Smith. Kick is forward. Jamie Thomas. He'll run the ball forward. Now shoots out the handball to Bubner. Bubner's also been a good player today. Fumbled that one, however, it didn't quite bounce back to him. Now the kick away under pressure. Anderson's there. So too Ebert for Port Adelaide. Ebert under plenty of pressure, and Hocking's pushed him in the back. So it's a free kick going the way of Craig Ebert. I don't know whether you agree with that one, Kim.
Well, Ebert's got the ball and he's played it on quickly to Leslie. Leslie up the centre of the ground, pushes out a pass towards Phelps. He's playing at centre half forward. Anderson backs his way through the pack, now gets the ball over to Boyd. Boyd pushes out a pass looking for Darren Smith. It's 2 against 1. Smith couldn't hold that one. Back there Scott Lee. So too Fiarchi. Now the ball out to Greg Page. Tried the one-handed pickup. He's grabbed without possession. And Greg Page, the Bulldog fullback, will receive a free kick as the siren sounds to end the third quarter. Great quarter of football. The Bulldogs on 12 goals, 9, 81 points. Leading Port Adelaide 9-6, 60 points, a 21-point advantage. Final quarter at Elizabeth Oval, and the Bulldogs led by 17 points at quarter time, 26 points at half time, and they now have a 21-point advantage. And a free kick has been picked out, or in fact umpire Daryl Schramm is going to recall that ball after a poor bounce. Ideal conditions, superb conditions for football. About 26 degrees in front of what could be a record crowd at Elizabeth Oval. Daryl Schramm, take two. Bubner opposed to Lunn. Bubner wins the tap down towards Robertson. Quick handball to Thomas. He got a short kick away towards Anderson. Tried to soccer it off the ground. Now taken by O'Brien. Back towards Bubner. Superb back turn. His wobbly kick out the direction of Craig Ebert. He's got that ball covered. Now kicks round his body to John Harvey. Harvey takes a fine mark. Plays on. Pushes that ball out looking for Hodges. And that's a good mark by Hodges. Young Scott Hodges has kicked one goal, 2 goals in fact, shown quite a deal of ability. His kick there well spoiled by Brady down towards Jennifer, been a little bit quieter this week. The kick out towards Darren Smith. Smith kicked 3 in the third quarter. His handball back to Rowan Smith, who was off the ground for a while in the third quarter. He centres the ball out there, and it's a fine mark taken there by Harrison. Well, Harrison appears to be playing out of a forward pocket. Originally started the game on the wing. I would suggest he's been moved down there to give that forward setup a little bit of life.
Yes, I tend to agree with you, Kim, although he is a wingman that does drift. See if we can pick him up.
Kick number 9 for Harrison. Already has 1 goal, now he has 2. That's a great start for the Magpies. They now trail by 15 points, and we've had 3 minutes of this final quarter.
Yes, Harrison is a good player. He certainly is down in that forward pocket, Kim, as you called it. It's David Buckley who's had to pick him up. He's a goal kicker. Russell Ebert's made the move in an effort to get some mobility up forward. Darren Smith's only scored 3 goals to date, and they'll need a few more if they're to get back into this game.
15 points the difference, anybody's game. Curtis appears to be moved back to centre. Abernathy ruck roving. Ball picked up by Abernathy, brought forward underneath that. Boyd couldn't take the mark, well spoiled by Pryor. Now it's Flintoff trying to get the handball out in the direction of Rowe. He's picked the ball up cleanly, onto the left boot, round his body, and he's found Robertson. Jeff Robertson, centre of the ground over to Anderson. Oh, he's had a field day today. Anderson coming up for quick kick number 22. He's already got 5 goals. Drives the ball long, and back there was Leslie, couldn't take the mark. Now it's taken by O'Brien as he clears for the Magpies.
Port Adelaide out of defence, bursting his way through as Brendan Little. Can he goal? He's not a bad kick for goal. He's given Rudi a chance up forward, however, but big Rudi can't mark it. Neither can Martin Leslie for Port Adelaide. Now Rudi picks up the ball. Goal number 5 for the big fellow. Not a bad effort to the full forward. 11 kicks, 5 goals, and the Central District's fans go wild.
Well, I couldn't quite pick up what happened there. The ball was in the pack. I thought the Port Adelaide players had possession, but all of a sudden the ball trickled out of the pack right into the path of Rudi Mandemaker, and with his new ventilated jumper with the hole in the back, he made no mistake to kick his 5th goal.
Big Rudi, the hero of the Bulldog crowd. Schramm bounces Bubner in ruck versus Lum for Port Adelaide. Bubner it was with the tap. Bringing the ball to ground, it was O'Brien. The umpire says he'll need to have a bounce yet again. Play just on 5 minutes into the final term. Elizabeth Oval, the game of the day. Both sides undefeated. Geneva couldn't get the handball away. He's been penalised for holding the ball. Free kick will go the way of David Flintoff. Kick number 13 for the ruck rover. He's placed it well to Anderson. Now Anderson already has 5 goals.
Well, David, he's coming up for kick number 23. It's a magnificent effort. He's absolutely kicked his leg off, but I think he must have left his arms at home or left them in his football bag, because he's only had 1 handball, and that's most unusual for a rover.
It's not unusual for a rover, Kim, I can assure you. But you're probably right, it is unusual. Still, he's played well, 5 goals. Could this be goal number 6? It is. Good effort to Little Rover. Who needs the handballs when you can kick 6 goals? And a very impressive display. Little South Warrnambool Rover, a fine acquisition to the Bulldogs.
Certainly has been. This is the second time we've seen Anderson. He started in the first game of the year against North Adelaide, and he's had an absolute beauty today. There we see young Stephen Anderson. There's not much of him, but he certainly is a live wire. He plays with that helmet, and boy, does he get in after that ball.
6 goals to Anderson, 5 goals to Rudi Mandemaker. Darren Smith with 3 as the leading light for the Maggies. Bursting his way through was Brendan Little. He's played very well today. Forward it goes to Mandemaker, an unholy shove right in the back of Greg Phillips. Big number 20 Guernsey. The Port defender has the free handball. I was about to say kick, but he shot it away. Was Hutton on to Boyd. Boyd out wide. Nobody within 50 metres of O'Brien. Curtis runs up to space. He doesn't need that player. He's gone for Phelps, who's playing centre-half forward after starting the game in the back lines. Now short he goes, looking for Hodges. Finally the ball came out to Flintoff. Onto the left foot he goes, wide to Rowe. B-grade bounce for Rowe. Didn't favour him. O'Brien's not able to keep the ball in play. And the ball goes out in the outer flank. We've played just on 8 minutes into this final term. 14-9 Central Districts, 10 goals, 6 Port Adelaide. It's 27 points the lead to the Bulldogs.
Ball up high, Rowan Smith under that, so too Brady. The ball's punched away in front of the escort sign, and once again we'll have a throw in.
Well, Kim, I'd need to ask you, can Port Adelaide get back into this one?
Well, I thought they were gone early in that third quarter, David. Then all of a sudden, Darren Smith kicked 3 goals. Hodges chipped in for 1. They had a 5-goal quarter, and they look to be back in business. But Central have opened well with 2 quick goals. But, no, it'd be a game of the man than me to ride them off at this stage.
Back in play. Ball's come to Phelps. He hasn't done a bad job at centre-half forward. Onto that rangy left foot. It's a long kick into the forward line. Darren Smith cleverly used his body, but Page is equal to the task. Now Ginniver shot off the handball. He was looking for Hodges. Philip Graham, the star of the back line, got it out to Greg Thomas. Little Rover has a bounce. In fact, it's Lally. No, it is Thomas. I was right the first time. Wide he goes. Underneath that one's Little, another star. The handball was shot off to Jamie Thomas. Has a bounce. They've got plenty of time, the Bulldogs. He chips in towards centre-half forward. He put the ball in front of Rowe. But bursting out was Lum. On to Boyd. A bounce. Now through the forward lines. Again, they're looking for Smith. He hasn't had a big day, the big fellow. Ginniver with the ball. He picks it up, snaps it, goal. Could it be a goal? A miraculous goal to Ginniver. Very nonchalant, right through the middle.
Well, a great Rovers goal. He's been a little bit quiet. He had a superb game on the Easter Monday. A little bit quiet today, but that might be the goal that lifts him and his side. Just looking back down the centre of the ground, though, Jamie Thomas, who's had a great game for the Bulldogs, he's starting to look a little bit leg-weary. So we'll keep an eye on him as we see Philip Harrison has been moved onto the ground to provide a little bit of run.
13,673 the crowd. We were expecting a record crowd today. Still 3,000 short of that tally in July of '84 when Port played Centrals out here. They got 16,029, but magnificent crowd just the same. South Australian football is alive and well. Free kick's been picked out at centre field. It's going the way of Port Adelaide's Martin Leslie. Leslie from centre half back. He's had his hands full with Bytheen. That's been an absorbing duel today. Went into Curtis, who marked. He played on quickly to O'Brien. A good pick-up. He's running around in circles, O'Brien. He's run probably 20 metres. Now he gets a kick away into the forward line. Up went Hodges. Couldn't gather in the mark. O'Brien in support. Off to Ginniver. Ginniver on the left foot. He loves snapping at goals, and who's marking? None other than Greg Anderson. Well, you can't keep a champion down for long. And Greg Anderson now an opportunity. Kick number 13 to score goal number 1. 11 minutes into the final term. This is the one that Port Adelaide need. Could it be a Port Adelaide recovery? That's right through the middle. Central Districts 14 goals 9. Lead Port 12 goals 6. Top action coming to you from Elizabeth Oval.
Certainly is, and it's only 15 points the difference. Anybody's game, And coach Russell Ebert certainly hasn't given up on his side yet. He's made plenty of moves. He's got Phil Harrison in the middle. He should have plenty of run left. He hasn't done a lot of work today. I mentioned earlier Jamie Thomas was looking a little bit tired. And Harrison has gone to the centre of the ground on Thomas, so it'll be interesting to keep an eye on those two players.
Will it what? The Magpies never say die. The Bulldogs' newfound enthusiasm. They've beaten North Adelaide in the opening game and Woodville last week. So they've beaten the sides that finished first, second and third last year. Unhealthy push in the back went unnoticed by the umpire. Finally it came out to Boyd, put in a wobbly punt into the forward line. Punching the ball from behind was Page. Now Abernathy under pressure. The kick is high into the forward line. Anderson's there, so too Smith. Smith came down with the ball. That mark wasn't paid. Jennifer off to Anderson. Now this bloke's a miracle worker. But that one, however, was offline and through for a point. The goal there would have been just what Russell Ebert would have needed, Kim.
It's only 14 points the difference, David. So once again, this game has come alive at Elizabeth Oval. The Dogs have led from go to woe, but unfortunately we haven't finished yet. The ball's pushed out the direction of Little. He couldn't take it, coming through strongly there with Stringer, the full back. His kick on the way is offline. That's another point, so it's 13 points the difference, and we've had about 13 to 14 minutes of this final quarter.
Well, there's no doubt this game's going to go right down to the wire. Paul Stringer's kick just offline. Port Adelaide aren't done until the final siren. That is for sure. Jamie Thomas out. He tried to claim the mark. He played on instead. Now looking for Brady. Phelps leads in the right. In fact, it's Lum in the lead for that ball. He's tackled strongly, holding the ball. I thought the tackle might have been a little bit high. Brady's won the kick. Kick number 10, Brady. Been a good performer today. Places it well to Greg Thomas. On the lead is Mandemaker. The ball's well put for him, but chipping in strongly is Harrison. And Harrison has the mark at centre half back.
That's a courageous mark by Harrison. He had Mandemaker running towards him. Now the kick out towards Phillips. Phillips out wide and he finds Curtis. Curtis has been a good player. He's been a battler all day. Kick number 11. In fact, it's a handball. It goes over the top to Leslie. Leslie with a very high, long kick. Under that is Hodges. Fine mark, Scott Hodges. Oh, he's an exciting youngster. He's already kicked 2 goals. 13 points the difference, and that's a fine mark there taken by Brenton Little. Well, this would definitely be the best game of league football Brenton Little has ever played. He's been superb today. Now the ball comes out towards Flintoff. He balances that ball on his left hand. One way, then the other. Kick out towards Bubner wasn't good, but it's safe as the ball trickles over the boundary line on the true centre wing position.
And Kim, just for the record, Little has had 20 kicks, 11 marks and 8 handballs to this stage of the game, so he's been in dynamic form, more than an adequate replacement for Russell Shields.
Certainly has been. It's been a great effort. Abernathy getting into the game. His kick out wide looking for Rowan Smith. Smith's been quiet today. Too far out to score. He's only had 4 kicks, in fact. John Harvey runs down from the halfback flank to provide a lead. That's ignored. Well, Rowan Smith's backing himself in here, but it'd have to be a mighty kick. In fact, it's going to just fall short. Big lead from behind. And a free kick, to Greg Anderson. Well, the Central players can't believe it. I didn't see it. It was too far away from where we're situated. Anderson, kick number 15, already has 1 goal, which he kicked this quarter from a similar position. That's his second. Well, this game's come to life. Only 7 points in it at Elizabeth Oval. Anybody's game.
Well, at one stage, they led by 29 points, the Bulldogs. It's now down to 7. Anderson, who hasn't had a brilliant day, has been shifted into the forward line and now making an impact. 2 goals in 4 minutes to the Magarey medalist of 86. And Port Adelaide moved to within 7 points. And you're absolutely right. Crowd sitting on the edge of their seat. There's still plenty left in this game.
Well, Cowboy Neil, he's got Peter Nix out running messages everywhere. The crowd's come to life. They're trying to rally their stars, the Bulldog supporters. Now the tap down towards Thomas. His kick forward, taken by Lally. Back towards Bytheen. Bytheen can't control it, and once again it's up to Daryl Schramm to sort out the mess.
Kim, it's been a fine duel today between Bytheen and Martin Leslie.
Certainly has. Both players have had their moments. I'd say she'd be pretty level at the moment.
Schramm has the bounce, goes to ground. The big thump away went forward, but there's been an infringement. It's going the way of Bytheen. He was shepherded out of the ruck. Peter Bytheen, 65 metres out, elects to go short to Harrison. He's got it. So Robertson it is, Jeff Robertson. Excitement building here at Elizabeth Oval. 7 points the difference.
And David Young-Hocking's just come back onto the ground at the expense of Greg Thomas.
Yes, he's got fresh legs, Hocking, and that's what they'll need. They'll need a little bit of run, Central District. This game is going to go right down to the wire as Robertson's kick goes forward. That's his first for the game. 13 points now the difference. And the Bulldogs have a little bit of breathing space.
Well, he's a very good kick, Jeff Robertson. Very handy around goals. I've always thought he's an underrated player. Possibly hasn't played as much league football with the amount of ability that he does possess. But boy, get him within range of goals and he doesn't let you down. 13 points in it. Great game of football.
Large crowd enjoying the spectacle at Elizabeth Oval. Two undefeated sides going at each other. This game will go right down to the wire. The ball came out to Curtis. It came from Hodges. The left foot kick was a wobbly one forward. Darren Smith's running for that ball. The bounce beat him, however. Bursting in was Curtis. Finally, it came to McGrath. He just dropped the ball. He didn't want to know about it. That's the way Schramm has seen it. The free kick's going the way of Rowan Smith. Kick number 5. He's working hard to get himself into this game. Now the lead's on from Geneva towards centre half forward. The ball's placed. Geneva gathers in the crumbs. He did the sporting work and then gathered in also. Now Schramm says he'll need to have a bounce. Flintoff it was who applied the tackle. Geneva couldn't get the ball out. We've played just on 18 and a bit quarter minutes in this final term. 13 points the difference. There's Bubner with a big thump away. O'Brien will lead in the race for that ball. Scott Lee desperately throws himself on the ball. He could have won a free kick. Play on called the umpire as Rowe gathered the ball in. Onto the left foot he goes. Looking for Bytheen, but out went Martin Leslie. Under pressure, he kicks the ball forward. And from behind, Scott Lee. Defender's done a good job today. Now he kicks long. On the lead is Robertson. Now he plays on. The handball off. Eddie Hocking. His first day game, Hocking. 2 bounces. There's plenty of pressure out there. Ball went through Lally. John Harvey applied the tackle. Diving desperately on it was Hutton. Good work. Now John Harvey with a kick forward. But unfortunately, it's gone out of play on the full. And the free kick will go the way either of Bubner or Hocking. Played almost 20 minutes into the final term. Still only 13 points in this, Kim, and the game's certainly heating up.
Certainly has, and it's young Hocking to take the ball. Decides to go short. Another pass in towards Robertson, so Robertson's picked up 3 quick kicks in this final quarter, as well as a goal. Too far out to score, he's taking his time. Now he pushes out a pass wide, out looking for Lally, but it wasn't well dispatched, and that's a fine mark taken there by Bruce Abernathy.
Courageous mark, Kim.
Abernathy having a good final quarter. Not sure which way to go. Play starting to get bottled up now. Kick number 15 for Abernathy. Leslie there, he couldn't take it, so too is Bubner. Off hands was Bytheen, he punches the ball forward. Now Hocking chances his arm, but he's thrown aside, and that's holding the ball. Great tackle, Phil Harrison. Harrison now playing in the centre of the ground. He drives long, the shortest way home. Big lead, McGrath couldn't take the mark. He's been flanked by who else but Scott Lee. Been the Rocket, I should say the Rocket Gibraltar back there. Now over to Thomas. Thomas will go over the top to young Anderson. Anderson coming up for kick number 24. He tries to centre the ball. Mandemaker makes position up high, couldn't take the mark. Lally reads the crumbs onto the left boot. He'll have to have a shot now. Ball's up high, Robertson back there. Now he picks up the ball off the ground. Oh, great goal, Jeffrey Robertson. That's his second goal, both in this final quarter. And that gives the Bulldogs a 19-point advantage, and that's a handy lead at this stage of the game.
Oh, at this stage of the game is right, Kim. We've played just on 21 minutes into the final term. And that's just what Russell Ebert didn't want to happen. Jeff Robertson kicking his second goal in the final moments of this game gives the Bulldogs a little bit of breathing space. Cowboy Neal takes a big sigh of relief.
19-point advantage to the Bulldogs. Still time for Port Adelaide. Lum decides to grab the ball, gets a quick kick away out towards Boyd. He gets another hurried short kick. Now it's punched on by Abernethy, only to see it taken by McGrath. In turn over to Jamie Thomas. I thought Thomas was getting tired, but he's still playing great football. Inspired football as that pass hits Rudi Mandemaker right on the chest. Mandemaker already has 5 goals alongside of his name. He'd be about 55 metres out. And Jamie Thomas is coming off the ground and he's receiving a very loud ovation from the crowd. He's played a fine game as the kick from Mandemaker is on its way. It's pulling up quickly. Off hands, in there is Flintoff. Appeared to be pushed in the back. Oh! He's gone for the line. Well, that was deliberate, but gee, it would have taken a brave man to call that one.
Oh, particularly in front of this home crowd, Kim. Goodness me. 19 points the difference. Bythorn it was with the tap down to Graham. The handball went off to Rudi Mandemaker. Goal number 6. They're certainly going to finish on top of the ladder after today's game. They now lead by 25 points. Rudi Mandemaker's kicked his 6th as the Bulldog crowd erupt.
They certainly do erupt. They're going absolutely mad in front of the commentary position. I can't believe this. The Central supporters would be one of the most enthusiastic groups in South Australian football. There's no doubt about that. There's paper going everywhere. Mandemaker, 6 goals. What an effort. 25-point lead to the Bulldogs. Great game of football.
It'd still be 8 minutes to go as the umpires are calling for a fresh football. Rudi kicked that one out of the oval.
The Central supporters now start their familiar chant as it echoes through the grandstand at Elizabeth Oval.
They can be pretty pleased with themselves. They've knocked off North Adelaide, Woodville, and now possibly Port Adelaide. It's still 8 or 9 minutes to go, though. Anything's possible with this Port Adelaide side. They're a good combination.
They certainly are, and they've got a never-say-die approach. As it's Lum once again with a tap. Phelps tried to tap it on again. Greg Thomas in the bottom of that. Lum down there doing the hard work. He's toiled away manfully all day in the absence of Russell Johnson, who was a late withdrawal due to an ankle injury.
Schramm with the bounce. Bubner up high, got the thump away down to Bythorn. Onto the left foot, he goes forward. Philip Graham's now up forward. He started in defence early in the game. The handball was off to Flintoff. He goes in long as Rudi there again. The big fella's up, he couldn't mark it. Phillips under pressure from Hocking. Hocking gets the quick kick away looking for Anderson. He overran the ball. Even with this little kick away, now Brendan Little. An opportunity, he can line up the goals. Instead he centres it. Mandemaker's there again. Coming across in front of the pack was big. Oh no, Rudi Mandemaker. Goal number 7. The mistake was on. It was Paul Stringer. Oh, the umpire's called it back. It was a throw. So it won't be Rudi's 7th goal. The ball will come back. And Big Rudi can't work out what's happening.
Well, he deserves a drink anyway. Umpire Rick Kinnear called that a throw, so eventually when they do get the ball back, it'll be a Port Adelaide free. So a let off for the Magpies. Young Paul Stringer couldn't hold that mark. We've had 25 minutes of this final quarter. We're into time on. The Bulldogs lead by 25 points. It's been a warm day here at Elizabeth Oval.
Kev, it's interesting to note that every time the ball goes into the crowd, the Central District fans don't throw the ball back in. They're playing for time now. They know they have the lead.
And I think another factor could be, David, that the ball's worth about $60 nowadays. As it's brought back into play, dead heat between Little and Rowan Smith. But umpire Rick Kinnear adjudicates that it's a Rowan Smith mark. Much to the displeasure of the Bulldog crowd. Martin Leslie couldn't hold that, but he's got the high one behind the ear, and he'll receive a free kick.
Paul Stringer's gone to centre half back. It appears that Martin Leslie is now on a half back flank.
Time running out for the Magpies. Eddie Hocking, handball over to Bubner. He's flanked by Pratty. The Bulldogs haven't stopped running all day. That pass out towards Graham, and Philip Graham now playing up in the forward line. One way, then the other. They're playing with confidence, and why shouldn't they? It's been a great game for them. Over the top to Bything. Harvey in there, jumps on top of the ball. Now the ball out towards Lum. Phil Graham grabbed without possession. Another free kick as Philip Graham lies prostrate on the ground, but have a look at that smile. Big grin by Philip Graham, about the length of a banana. Only about 35 metres out. David McKay questions my terminology.
How long's a banana, Kim?
About as long as Philip Graham's smile. 15 kicks to Philip Graham.
He certainly has reason to be happy. Port Adelaide certainly haven't got time to get up now. We've played just on 27 and a bit minutes into this final term as Graham lines up the goals. He started the game in defence, now into attack, lining up the goals. It's offline, however. It won't matter. 17 goals, 11, 113 Centrals, 13 goals, 8, 86 points, Port Adelaide.
Been a great day for football as this competition is well and truly alive and wide open. Phillips brings the ball back into play. Now taken by Lally. His kick around his body comes straight back towards Phillips. Phillips plays on quickly, onto the left boot. Stabs that ball back towards the centre of the ground. Hodges underneath that and takes a fine mark. Hodges receives a little bit of extra attention from Lally. This allows the Bulldog players to pick up their men, but unfortunately no one's picked up O'Brien as he's taken a strong mark. Only minutes remaining. O'Brien, kick number 11. It's been intercepted by Hocking. Now taken by Geneva. Back towards Phelps. On to Rowan Smith. Thought about the handle, sold the dummy well. Snapshot on its way. Is offline, so the Bulldogs move on to... Well, in fact, the Magpies move on to 13 goals, 9. Trailing the Dogs, 17-11.
24 points is the difference. We've now played almost 29 minutes. No time remaining for the Magpies to get up in this one. It'll be the Bulldogs victorious as Rowe takes his time. He knows it's late in the quarter. Plenty of time for kick number 15 for him. In fact, it's 26 points the margin. Thomas tackled strongly by Curtis. O'Brien came in, so too did Bubner. He got away the quick handball. Out to Flintoff, the left foot kick forward. Bytheen, one hand to that one. Picks it up, Stringer in pursuit. Now gets a short kick into Eddie Hocking. First day game, he'll remember this one. Through to Brendan Little, a star today. Looks for Mandemaker, now he goes over the top. Not long enough, however, Greg Phillips gets fingertips to that one, and it dribbles through for a behind.
David, appeared that Brendan Little was in two minds there. He didn't really go for those goals, and yet he didn't really pass it to Mandemaker. But I think they're pretty safe now, the Bulldogs. They've got this one in the bag as the ball comes out towards Anderson. Anderson with a familiar long raking left foot drop punt. Punched away, taken by John Harvey. His kick forward has been well taken by the acting captain today, Mark Pryor. Pryor out to Trevor Rowe. He's played a useful game today, Rowe. Now the ball out back towards Phelps. Phelps gets an awkward handball away. Paul Stringer chasing after that, intercepted by Hocking. The little Rover's off, he'll go all the way home. He'll have a shot for goal. Oh, he's offline. They can afford to miss. They've got this one in the bag. They now lead by 28 points. It's been a great game of football and a superb effort by the Central District side.
Yes, it has, Kim, but one wonders how important the time recovery from the game before. Port Adelaide played on the Easter Monday. They've only had 5 days to recover. Central Districts have had a full week.
Point taken, David, and I think another telling factor today, taking nothing away from the Bulldogs, is the fact that the Magpies lost their captain today, Russell Johnson, and we all know how much importance he is to the Port Adelaide machine.
He certainly is. The ball finally was thrown out with a long handball to Phelps. Cross to Anderson, who's now back on the ball. Phelps looking for Abernathy. It went long for him, however. It went to Hodges. The long handball forward. Boyd in the forward line now. Back to Abernathy, on to Harrison, goal. No worries about that, just a little bit too late for the Magpies, however, as Philip Harrison lines up goal number 3 and bangs it right through.
22 points the difference. Could only be seconds remaining in this game. It's been a great game of football. It's been hard, it's been tough. There's been plenty of running football. There's been high marking. There's been some miraculous goals. One kick by young Anderson was an absolute beauty at the 24-minute mark of the second quarter when he socketed off the ground. This game's had absolutely everything. And both sides can walk off holding their heads up high.
22 points the margin at the 31-minute mark of the final term. Bubner in ruck. The big thump away came, however, from Lum. Forward go the Bulldogs into no man's land. John Harvey leads in the race for that ball. Now he's tackled strongly by Anderson around the neck, however. Play on called the umpire. Even bounce away off half back to centre half forward. Greg Boyd up. The spoil was on by Buckley. Now Lally, number 16, jumps in. I think O'Brien just threw a gentle reminder that they're still interested in this game, Port Adelaide. Umpires took a little bit of exception to that. As he went into the pack, he was just a trifle vigorous, Kim.
Well, if Craig Braddy's not careful, he'll end up with one of those aerated jumpers that Rudi Mandemaker has.
David Buckley is just telling umpire Rick Kinnear that there was a right arm cross thrown. Finally, Abernathy with the free kick. Forward he goes. Greg Anderson has the mark. Now, Anderson's about 45 metres out. He's a magnificent kick, so distance won't be a problem. The 1986 Magarey medalist already has 2 goals, 1 to his credit. Kick number 17. He started the game slowly, but he's hauled himself back into this game, as true champions do. That kick's on the way. Goal number 3 for him. It's a little late, however, for the Magpies. Central District, 17 goals, 13, 115. Lead Port Adelaide, 15 goals, 99. The margin is now only 16 points.
Well, Anderson's kicked 3 goals in this final quarter, so that's been a fine performance. But as we mentioned earlier, the Bulldogs have led from the start of this game. They kicked 3-2 in the first quarter. Port Adelaide could only manage 3 points. And they haven't looked back all day. Even though the Magpies have mounted a few challenges to get back into this game, the Bulldogs have always had an answer to reply with.
6 goals this quarter to the Magpies, 5 to the Bulldogs. In an even final quarter, Lum couldn't get the kick away. Flintoff gathered the ball in but couldn't dispose of it. Now Hocking an opportunity. Out wide to Brendan Little. An absolute star today. His kick, however, is not well placed, and chipping in is David Hutton to mark for the Magpies at centre half back. In fact, Little has had 23 kicks, 11 marks and 8 handballs in a fine display from the wing. Off the ground went Rowe with the kick wide. Robertson leads in the race for that ball. We've had just on 32 minutes, so certainly a long quarter of football. Robertson has a couple of bounces, pursued by Rowan Smith. He's muffed it, under pressure. Stringer came out, pushed the ball forward. Graham an opportunity now. Onto the left foot he goes wide. Anderson couldn't mark the ball. Thumping it forward was Hutton. Rowan Smith's handball was intercepted. He punched it forward. Again to Hutton. Onto the left foot he goes. There's not much penetration in that kick. Grabbing a good mark is Malcolm McGrath, half back. McGrath's a little hurt. I think he might have just winded himself there. Kick number 10. Been a consistent performer today for the Bulldogs. They haven't had a passenger. Now playing kick to kick, playing for time. Brady has played all day in the back lines and has played a magnificent game. Kicks the ball long, 55 metres he goes forward, and lurching for a big mark is John Harvey as the siren sounds to finish this game at Elizabeth Oval. Central District, 17 goals, 13, 115. They've beaten Port Adelaide, 15 goals, 9, 99, and the margin was only 16 points.